Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from Netherlands and good afternoon from Indonesia. We're delighted to welcome you to the first symposium of Indonesia the Netherlands Partnership Forum 2020, with theme Bridging the Gap and Harnessing Sustainable Energy. This symposium is organized by Bandung Institute of Technology Alumni Network, Netherlands Chapter, IA-ITB Netherlands, together with the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and Energy Academy Indonesia, EKADIN. On behalf of the committee of the symposium, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate you taking time of your busy schedule to join us today. And I wish everyone here will always stay healthy in the current pandemic situation. Before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Intani Kapriani. Today, I will be master of ceremony of the symposium. Ladies and gentlemen, in this symposium, we hope that stakeholders from both countries can share the experience, pitch the ideas or product to potential backers, and discuss challenges and opportunities in establishing a partnership innovation and investment. It's an honor to me to introduce and welcome to the guests in our event. Welcome the Ambassador of the Republic Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Good morning to His Excellency Mayerfas. Good morning. Deputy Chairman of Investment Promotion at Indonesia Investment Coordination Board, BKPM, Mr. Ikmal Lukman.
Yes, good morning.
Morning, Pak. And Chairman of Bandung Institute of Technology Alumni Network Netherlands Chapter IA-ITB Netherlands, Mr. Raymon Frediansyah. Good morning, Mr. Raymon.
Good morning.
And Director General of New and Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Dadan Kusdiana. Good afternoon, Mr. Dadan.
Afternoon, good morning.
Okay. And we also would like to welcome all the speakers, responders, and participants in Indonesia the Netherlands Technology Partnership Forum 2020. Please give a round of applause for this symposium. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, to open our event today, we hear together the welcome remarks by Mr. Raymon Frediansyah, Chairman of Bandung Institute of Technology Alumni Network Netherlands Chapter, IA-ITB Netherlands. Mr. Raymon, the time is yours.
Terima kasih Pak Bagus, Pak Munir, Pak Intihan, Pak Greg, Pak Indra.
Good morning and good afternoon. Distinguished Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Netherlands, His Excellency Bapak Mayerfas, Distinguished Director General of New and Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Dadan Kusdiana, Distinguished Deputy Chairman for Investment Promotion at Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, Bapak Ikmal Lukman, distinguished speakers, responders, facilitators, event committee, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first event of INTPF, Indonesia, the Netherlands Technology Partnership Forum. This event is organized by Bandung Institute of Technology Alumni Network, the Netherlands chapter, in collaborations with the Embassy of Republic of Indonesia in the Netherlands and supported by Energy Academy Indonesia, EKADIN, and IA-ITB officials in Jakarta. Indonesia and the Netherlands have always maintained close relationships in bilateral economics, trades, technological collaborations, and investments. The latest state visit of King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima to Indonesia last March, joined by immense Dutch business delegates, which economic mission to Indonesia accentuates and strengthens this valuable Indonesian-Dutch economic relationship further. Technological partnership and cooperation are an integral part of this bilateral relationship between the two countries. INTPF aims to foster and accelerate any technological partnership and implementation by becoming an invaluable information hub for stakeholders both in Indonesia and the Netherlands. For the first editions of INTPF in 2020-2021, we have chosen sustainable energy as the focus and the main topic. While Indonesia aims to increase renewable energy share by 23% by 2025, currently renewable energy only accounts for less than 10% of the national energy mix sources. Clearly, it remains a challenge moving forward. On the other hand, the Netherlands has a competitive advantage where prominent institutions and companies in the sector are present. To date, several ongoing partnerships and collaborations have been taking place in this area between the two countries. Giving few examples of, but not limited to, Pertamina-Hayat Land Cooperation in building Indonesia's first thin film solar PV factory, and also joint development of small-scale and standalone hybrid wind power plants in Indonesia between Pondera BV and PT Quadran Energi Rekayasa. Today, in this event, we will witness the MOU signing ceremony between Pondera and Quadran Energi Rekayasa. I and the event committee are truthfully delighted and honored to be able to facilitate this. This INTPF Symposium is organized in such a way as an initial event addressing experience-based learnings. I believe we can learn from all these initiatives and partnerships, and definitely from other active participants today. Lessons learned about gaps, challenges, and opportunities in establishing partnerships in sustainable energy technology will be shared and discussed, and it is the key focus of today's symposium. The learnings from this initial event will shape and will be an important factor for us to tailor the main INTPF event, which we aim to organize in the first quarter of next year. I am confident that this technology forum will foster future potential research collaboration, investment deals, and long-term partnerships between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude my remarks, I would like to say thank you to all organizing committees of INTPF, led by Mr. Rihan Handala, for all of your great effort and good teamwork that this event may happen today. I would also like to say thank you to all collaborating on supporting partners, KBRI Den Haag, EKADIN, PPI-ITB, facilitators, speakers, responders, and last but not least, to all participants online, I thank you. And as in Dutch, we say, geniet ervan, enjoy the symposium today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raymon, for the warm speech. Next, we are now going to hear a welcome speech by Mr. Ikmal Lukman, Deputy Chairman for Investment Promotion at Indonesia Investment Coordination Board BKPM. Mr. Ikmal Lukman, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Intan. I'm Ikmal from Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board. Your Excellency, Pak Mayerfas, Indonesian Ambassador for the Kingdom of Netherlands, Pak Dadan Kusdiana, Director General of Renewable Energy, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Mr. Raymon Frediansyah, Chairman of Bandung Institute of Technology Alumni Network in Netherlands, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, of course, in Netherlands right now. So first of all, on behalf of the Chairman of the BKPM, I would like to thank you to the Indonesian Embassy and also the Ikatan Alumni ITB Belanda that already established, create the business forum that's very important, I think, for BKPM in order to attract foreign investors, especially coming from Netherlands. And distinguished guests, let me start with the performance of Netherlands investment in Indonesia. In general, up to third quarter 2020, we have managed to achieve 74.8% from the total target of Indonesian rupiah, around 611.6 trillion rupiah. Even we know that the FDI flow over the world during the pandemic COVID declined to 40 and 30%. So we still enjoy the investment, both domestic and foreign. Investment realization in the third quarter alone contribute around 290 trillion rupiah. So if we are talking about the Netherlands investment pattern, we see that Netherlands is ranked 6th during the period 2015 to September 2020. majority of Netherlands investment in Indonesia is dominated by tertiary sector, with the total portion of 67%, followed by primary sector with 18% and secondary sector with 15%. Prominent sector coming from the Netherlands are electricity, gas and water supply, transport, storage and telecommunication, mining, chemical, pharmaceutical industry, and food industry. Distinguished guests, I would like to share with you how Indonesia, BKPM still maintain the investment in Indonesia during the pandemic COVID, because we still assisting, supervise the investor how they can run their business in Indonesia. If they have problem with the production, we give the assistance directly to him, to her, by assisting him, so they can continue their factory here. Let's say if they have problem with for getting the raw material from the out of the country, we together with the Ministry of Trade and another ministry trying to solve the problem that they have. Yeah. Including the problem in the labor and also how to export due to the restriction of because of the pandemic of it. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think because I have only 10 minutes, so I think we have to focus what the government of Indonesia have been done for attract more foreign investment into Indonesia. So maybe in the past, some of the foreign investors think that in Indonesia it's very difficult to find the licensing that they need for running their business in Indonesia. They think that Indonesia is not transparent, uncertainty. There is many difficulty that they have, but this is in the past. But now it's not anymore, because with the presidential decree number 7/2020, all the licensing for running business in Indonesia already issued by the BKPM. This president instruction give the BKPM the authority by delegating or the authority delegated by the 22 ministry and agency to BKPM to issue the license business by system, what we call it is online single submission. Maybe some of you are already familiar with the OSS. Yeah. So by this system, so there is no face-to-face meeting. There is no chance for the civil servant or the government officer to meet the investor. They all arranged by the system. Yeah. So by this system, the investor no need to go around all the ministry, no need to go around to the regional government. They just coming to our office BKPM in order to get the business licensing that they need to run their businesses in Indonesia. So I think because of this regulation, because of this presidential decree, so we can handle all the investor in Indonesia, because we have already the authority to help them, to assist them, to allow them to have the licensing. So that is very important, because maybe in the past some of you think that very difficult to find the business licensing. And then the second is about the job creation law. Yeah. I think some of you know about the job creation law. We call it in the international community, it's an omnibus law. Job creation law make all the investment will be more simply, transparent, certainty. So by this system, you can measure how long you need the time to finish your licensing in Indonesia. Yeah. And then how much the cost that you have to pay. Actually, as far as I know, there is no the fee or the charge for getting the licensing business in Indonesia. And then by this job creation law, no more overlap of the business licensing between central and government, because with the job creation law, the government already manage which one the regional government authority, which one the central government authority, which one the ministry and agency authority, and then all the authority, all the regulation put in the one system in online single submission. So, and then I would like to let you know that we provide the location for the foreign investor. We call it the economic zone as strategic investment location. We have 180 large-scale industrial estate, 15 special economic zone, 4 free trade zone, 1,360 bonded zone, 91 bonded logistics center, and then new Ten Bali as a priority tourism destination. So if you are locating your businesses, your factory in this location, so you will enjoy the accelerate of getting the licensing. Actually, we push right now to get the license in this area just 3 hours maximum. But now still in the progress in our implementation regulation of the job creation law. So I hope there would be issue at the end of this year. So what is the incentive that offered by the government of Indonesia for the foreign investor? First is about tax holiday, and then second one is about the tax allowance, and then the exemption of the duty import, and also the raw material, and deduction of the tax for company that create training center and also the research and development. And then under the presidential decree number 7, 2019, all the incentive will be issued by the BKPM. So it means that for getting the business licensing and for getting the incentive, you can just come to our office and then we will discuss this and then we will issue it. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to let you know, last is about the relocation. Why I talk about the relocation? Because by this relocation, it means that indicate Indonesia now is getting better, especially for the investment. 2 years ago, maybe some of you know, but there is the location relocated multinational company from China to out of China due to the trade war between US and China. 30 company already moved, but no one coming to Indonesia. 24 went to the Vietnam, and the rest go to the Thailand and also Philippines and Malaysia. But now we are happy because this year we have already catch 13 company to choose Indonesia as the destination for their relocating from China to out of China. And then we already collect around 152 potential investor from China. With the total investment around 70.7348 million US dollar, with the workforce around 291. So this is the information that we can share with you that indicate that now we have changed. We have changed because we already win to attract the foreign investment that relocated from China to out of the China. So I think that can we share with you especially, and then I think in the last I would like to share with you the potential of Indonesia. So if you think that if you want to get the advantage of the market in Indonesia, I think it is very good for you. Because why? Because within the ASEAN, maybe some of you know about the ASEAN. There are the 10 country members of the ASEAN country. And then, you know, the 40% of the population of Indonesia, Indonesia is contribute around 40% of the total population of the ASEAN. And Indonesia share around 38.5% of the economic to the ASEAN. So it means that if you invest in Indonesia, you can cater not only Indonesian market, but also the ASEAN market. I think that's something that we have to think about the potency of Indonesia as your destination for investment. And then the last, I would like to share with you, BKPM together with and also together with Indonesian Embassy, led by the Ambassador Mayerfas. 2 weeks ago, we just went to Netherlands, and then we are very happy because we got already 7 companies from the Netherlands that want to invest. This is not just one, but they decided to invest in. They already decided to invest in Indonesia, with the total investment is around almost 700 million US dollar. So I think this is very good opportunity for another company from Netherlands, because they can follow their successor, like already mentioned by myself, that 7 companies from Netherlands already decided to invest in Indonesia this year. Yeah, I hope this forum will give more information for the investor, especially related how to convince you by increasing the investment climate in Indonesia. That's all that I can share with you. We will more than happy to assist you together with the Indonesian Embassy in The Hague. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Ikmal, for the insight on your speech. And ladies and gentlemen, next we are going to listen to welcome remarks by His Excellency Mayerfas, the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Please, Mr. Mayerfas, the time is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from The Hague. First of all, since I new here, allow me first to introduce myself. My name is Mayerfas. I've been here only just for 1 month, and I just presented my credential to the King last week. So my job here only for last 1 week. Since all of us is expected that the relation and cooperation between 2 countries growing, strengthen, and more cooperation will be established. That is my job, my task assigned to me. In this regard, I need your support, I need your cooperation, and also I need your advice. Thank you. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon to our valued viewers from Indonesia and in the Netherlands in today's webinar. I'm privileged to join today's forum, and I thank the member of the organizing committee, namely Bandung Institute of Technology Alumni Network, Netherlands chapter, and Energy Academy of Indonesia for their initiative and for making this possible. With the cooperation of the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in The Hague, Netherlands. I also would like to thank our speakers for their availability in sharing their thought in today's theme. We will listen today to a very diversified range of speakers and panelists from Indonesia and the Netherlands, going from corporate and government, executive to investor and practitioners. My earnest hope that this forum, which is the first ever to be held, will be deliberated and follow up for a fruitful and welcoming outcome. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is very meaningful for Indonesia. The use of renewable energy is indeed very promising and would certainly deliver transformative impact in the life of Indonesian people. Imagine in some remote place, children do their schoolwork under a simple candlestick. A poor family dined together with only a kerosene lamp to spare them for the night because they could not afford high electricity costs. But with greater way of bringing our people access to affordability to energy and harness natural energy in sustainable way, with the renewable energy and other sustainable energy solutions that are widely available globally, we can make it possible and bring a significant impact and transformation in their life. Ladies and gentlemen, to give you a realistic picture, we must admit also that Indonesia's journey toward a low carbon future is still different from that of any country in Western Europe. Indonesia is still a different stage of development. Demand for affordable energy will continue to grow strongly, especially with rapid urbanization and modernization. Indonesia, as many of you have known, is the largest country in association of South Asian nations in terms of energy consumption, and energy demand is growing exponentially. We are all heavily dependent on our fossil fuel for energy consumption. We cannot expect to suddenly replace fossil fuel with renewable and green energy solution under a short term. Indonesia cannot move quickly to a European standard of green without limiting its economy and social development. But do not get me wrong in sending a mixed signal. These are just realities on the ground. Let the truth be told that also our dependence on domestic coal as well as imported petroleum product has increased in recent years. Indonesia has started adding more renewable capacity to its energy mix. The country aims to achieve 23% renewable energy use by 2025 and 31% by 2050 as part of its plan to reduce greenhouse gas emission in line with the objective of the Paris Climate Agreement. Along with some of the world's greatest geothermal and hydropower potential, Indonesia also possesses abundant resources for solar, wind, ocean, and bioenergy development. Through sustainable and green development, we can tap energy efficient technologies and energy solutions for us to reap Indonesia's vast potential of green and renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, decades ago, the use of sustainable energy solutions seemed too far because of the high price, inaccessibility in the market, and the lack of public awareness. What seems impossible yesterday might seem to be possible today, and it seems well within our reach. We are witnessing a total energy revolution. Now that people are getting more aware, we are hopeful to see energy access and affordability for the benefit of our people. For Indonesia, our government and our legislative bodies are preparing measures to address the need of our people. For example, last year, President Joko Widodo has reportedly signaled a transition away from coal power. Only recently, we are currently seeking breakthrough in reducing emission produced from our coal power plant, one of which is by promoting the use of biomass co-firing with coal to reduce emissions and increase the role of renewable energy. As confirmed last 9th of July 2020 by our Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, we have also planned to terminate our age coal power plant and implement green coal technology. In addition, to achieve the target and encourage renewable energy investment, the government of Indonesia is currently preparing presidential regulation and feed-in tariff. We are also putting a priority to use potential renewable energy to provide energy supply to the people living in the remote and outer areas. The government is also targeting to replace the diesel power plant within the next 3 years. Recently, Indonesia is preparing waste to energy project, which is being developed in 14 cities and integrated with waste management and electricity generating plant. Additionally, the country also promotes biomass as an alternative to fossil fuel for power plant and industry. To add that, Indonesia commit to reduce emission by 29% in 2030 under business as usual scenario, and further reduction of up 41% subject to international assistance. With this being said, Indonesia current policy, in addition to with our commitment, it is clear path to greener energy system for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia joined collective action of the community of nations that making a shift to a renewable energy system and other sustainable energy solution is a priority of every government, every corporation, and every community. We are all responsible and we are all part of the solution. All of us, government, business, and individuals need to push toward a low carbon future. Today's program is an important platform for all stakeholders to discuss critical issues and opportunities for clean energy. It is my fervent hope that this special forum will continue to foster and accelerate a sustainable energy implementation by becoming an invaluable information hub for partners, both Indonesia and the Netherlands. With this in mind, I invite members of Netherlands business community to invest in Indonesia under this particular field. As such, I'm pleased to witness and to see later on the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding in the wind power development between Pondera of Netherlands and PT Quadrant Energy Perkasa of Indonesia. To this end, I hope, dear participants, you will bear this conclusion in mind and make a genuine contribution, and I would like to encourage all of you to continue this effort and to help realize our energy story for Indonesia. With this word, I do wish you some interesting session ahead, and I sincerely hope that some useful result will come out of our deliberation. Again, I wish everyone a fruitful and productive session. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Mr. Mayerfas, for the welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to listen to the keynote speech about sustainable energy prospect and opportunities in Indonesia by Mr. Dadan Kusdiana as a Director General of New and Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources of the Republic of Indonesia. Please, Mr. Dadan, the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibu Intan. Very good morning to all of you in Netherlands, and very good afternoon here in Jakarta. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate the initiative of the ITB Alumni Network, in particular for the Netherlands chapters. I would like also to send my appreciation to His Excellency Ambassador Mayerfas, and also to my colleague from BKPM, Deputy Chairman of BKPM, Pak Ikmal, Lukman. So I would like to start by sharing some slide with you. I think most of the issue and the updates have been mentioned just now by the ambassador already, but probably I would like to add some in that part. For example, in terms of the potential and renewable energy installed capacity. It has been mentioned already by Pak Raymon that our achievement for renewable energy in last year was 9.1% in 2019. And if we see the detail of that number is that bioenergy, hydro, and geothermal dominated the achievement. Hydro is contributing 6 gigawatt, followed with geothermal 2.something gigawatt, and then also the bioenergy power plant, as we are located in the tropical countries. But within last 2 years, the realization of installed capacity tends to be increased, in particular for the solar power plant and wind power plant. Within 2 or 3 years, we have been implemented 2 or 3 projects on solar and wind power. So we had already 2 wind farms in eastern part of Jakarta, with the capacity in total is 150 megawatt. And we have also in commercial implementation on grid implementation for solar grid with total of 150 megawatt. So this is our potency in the right part. For example, for hydro, we have 75 gigawatt in the resources, and also follow with geothermal, 24 gigawatt. We have also wind power. Actually, in some areas are good. So I know that Netherlands are already advanced in the wind power technology. We have the potential of 60 gigawatt here. And let's see about the investment. Within last 5 years investment, in 2016, for example, we had the investment in total for renewable energy as well as also for the energy efficiency projects is 1.5 billion US dollar. And then increase in 2017, and then becoming almost equivalent with the result in 2016, for that in 2018. And this year in 2020 up to last third quarter, the total was 1 billion US dollars. So I think in terms of the result is still good in the, for the investment on renewable energy. Most of the investment are in the geothermal projects for well drilling, exploration, workover in several production wells. So, and then follow also with the project in biofuel, as well as also for hydro, solar, and wind. So let's move into our roadmap. Actually, we are now preparing this kind of roadmap within the ministry with the target to reduce the oil consumption, and also to reduce the import of the LPG as well as also the oil. So we are going to increase the sale of renewable energy, as being mentioned by the ambassador, that our target is to have 23% in 2025. And how much is the number of 23%? This is calculated based on the target of 23% in 2025. So have to put more renewable energy here, with the target is to have more in solar energy. Why solar energy? Because so far the cost for the investment is tend to be decreased. We need only shorter time to the implementation of the projects. But we put also some project here on wind. We have some for hydro because of difficulty in the issue of social and economics and also the environment. So we'll have more projects for solar, wind, bioenergy, and geothermal. Of course, we are going to increase the use of biofuel as we are the first country in producing the palm oil here. So we use, for example, biofuel based on the palm oil utilization. Some program are here being mentioned in the slide. We will be finishing the Presidensial decree. Hope it will be very soon to be established. And then we'll develop also the large scale of the solar power plant, including the rooftop. We try also to develop the some areas, in particular in eastern part of the country. So very specific is in East Nusa Tenggara. This area is rich in terms of solar and also wind. So we'll develop that part and then bring the electricity to the western part of the country, to the Java, which is the central of the demand in the country. So this is the our roadmap within 15 years to come. And talking about SDG 7, yes, in some part we are still lacking in achieving the SDG 7. But so far the number is quite interesting. It's good for us so far, for example, for electrification ratio. I think this ratio is not familiar for the Netherlands, probably because it's already 100%. But for us here, the number is very close to 99%. So we'll put more projects here for the remote areas, including to distributing the battery, to accelerate the people to get the access for the electricity. So in terms of the electricity consumption per capita, we are targeting that in 2009, it reach 1,200 kilowatt hour per capita per year. But the reality was only 1,000. We know that there is relationship between the consumption of electricity and also with the welfare of the community. For the renewable energies, last year was 9.15%. And in terms of the implementation of energy efficiency project, I think the target was still in good track. Yeah, this is still in the track of our roadmap. And how then we will achieve the target of renewable energy? We understand that we heard from the news, there are a lot of projects in Europe, in Portugal, and also in the Middle East, and also in Latin America in implementation of solar energy. The cost is getting less and less for the capex, and the result, we will have a very efficient electricity production from clean energy. So this can bring us to the strategies for Indonesia to accelerate the renewable energy. The first is to substitute the existing technology by using, it's not substituting the technology, but substituting the primary or final energy substitution. So we try to put more, for example, biofuel for the use in the transportation sector, in the industry. So we'll put more biomass into coal power plant, and we use also RDF. This is municipal city-based fuel for the utilization in the coal power plant. So we are still using a coal power plant, but we add more sustainable, clean energy here. So we don't need to to change the technology. We don't need to change the facility. Number two is fossil primary energy conversions. One example for this is that we have 5,000 distributed power plant, which are mainly based on the diesel plant. This has been the commitment from the government to reduce the use of diesel power plant, and will change it by renewable energy power plant. Okay. It is done through the PLN, the state-owned company. Number three is when there is new demand for the electricity, we will add more renewable energy. So the first and the second is for the existing demand, and number three is for the new demand of electricity. So we'll add more renewable energy facility. Number four is to have more renewable energy for non-electricity and non-biofuel utilization. For example, we try to convert also the use of oil for agriculture product drying, for example, for tobacco or for tea plantation. So we add, for example, biomass. But this is not really regarded as the modern energy implementation as we have for biofuel or as we have for electricity. About CO2 emission, as being mentioned by Ambassador, that we are committed to the Paris Agreement. This is the part from energy sector. Last year, we have reached almost 55 million tons of CO2 reduction from energy sectors, while the target is 51 million metric ton. And this year, we are targeting to have more than 63 million ton of CO2 emission, while the roadmap is only 58. So within last 2 years, we are exceeding the target actually. Most of them coming from renewable energy, 54%, and then the other half coming from energy efficiency. So almost 74% coming from renewable energy and energy efficiency projects for the CO2 emission in energy sectors. And see the roadmap here for CO2 emission within the energy sector up to 2030. So the energy sector will be contributing in 2030 is about 314 million ton. This is equivalent with 38 or 37% of those of NDC, of national commitment to the Paris Agreement. So when we put the data in our achievement within last 5 years, so we need more ambitious target here. We need more renewable energy. We need more energy efficiency project to reach this kind of target that has been committed into the Paris Agreement. So the project of energy efficiency, the project of renewable energy at the end will be impacting into the achievement of the CO2 emission from the energy sectors. So last here, yes, now we are trying to have more better business climate. The BKPM has introduced a single submission, for example, for licensing. We do here also putting more incentive for implementation. For example, if you are going to do the business in geothermal, the government will cover the exploration costs here. So the government do the exploration, and then we will tender the area for geothermal. So we have green sukuk already. I think it will be mentioned also later on by SMI. We have some funding agency, Environment Control Fund Agency. This is under the Environment Ministry. We have such a one program, Indonesia One SDG. This is a platform for facilitating the involvement of philanthropists, international donor agencies, and others, and it will be, I think, mentioned more by the PT SNI in terms of the funding. But yes, we are waiting here for the presidential decree for the feed-in tariff. If we have this, then we will try to work with PLN to have more projects very soon for renewable energy all over the country. So by this, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you again to the organizer. So good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Dadan, for the keynote speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into our main agenda panel discussion, first, we are going to have the virtual MOU signing ceremonial between Pondera Development BV, represented by Mr. Hans Reinalder and Mr. Chandra Susmito, and PT Kuadran Energi Rekayasa, represented by Mr. Sudarmono Sasmono. This MOU is about development of small-scale hybrid and standalone wind power plant in Indonesia, particularly in Eastern Indonesia, NTT. The MOU signing will be witnessed by the Ambassador of the Republic Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Mr. Mayerfas, together with Mr. Dadan Kusuma and Mr. Ikmal Lukman. Please allow me to read the MOU summary between two parties before the signing event. This Memorandum of Understanding on Development of Small-Scale Hybrid and Standalone Wind Power Plants in Indonesia, hereinafter referred to as MOU, is made and signed on this day, Tuesday, 1st of December 2020, by and between Pondera Development BV and PT Kuadran Energi Rekayasa. The parties above hereby agree to enter into this MOU based on the following terms and conditions. First, this MOU is made based on good faith and for mutual benefit, and its implementation is in accordance with the function and duties of each party and will consider and honor the applicable regulation of each party and the parties collectively. The second, the parties agree that this MOU is not intended to restrict or inhibit any party to perform the same or similar engagement with other parties for the same purpose of objectives, and is not intended to inflict and give rise to legally binding obligation to each party for this MOU. The third, this MOU is intended to utilize the knowledge, skills, experiences, resources, and function that are held by the parties for mutual interest based on the desire to help each other and provide support in conducting development of small-scale hybrid and standalone wind power plants in Indonesia. Fourth, the parties intended to cooperate for their mutual benefit in the following scope of work. A. The parties are working together in developing potential location for small-scale wind power plants, both in the form of hybrid with other generators and those that are standalone. B. The parties will initiate the development of the location by conducting a joint study which includes a fiscal study and an impact assessment to the grid or other studies related to the development of the potential location. C. The parties may develop the commercial and business aspect of the potential location together, or by engaging a third party, the distribution of shares in the development is adjusted to the contribution of each party. D. The parties will jointly promote the potential location to PLN or other parties until the commercial site plan can be implemented. In witness whereof, this MOU has been made and executed by the parties, signed and stamped by the parties, and will be effective as mentioned in the first part of this MOU. Signed by Mr. Hans Reinalder, Director of Pondera Development BV, Mr. Chandra Sumitro, President Director of Pondera Southeast Asia, and Mr. Sudarmono Sasmono, CEO of PT Kuadran Energi Rekayasa, witnessed by Mr. Dadan Kusdiana, Director General Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Ikmal Lukman, Deputy Chairman for Investment Promotion at Indonesia Investment Coordination Board BKPM, and His Excellency Mayerfas, Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Ladies and please for both parties, Mr. Hans Reinalder, Mr. Chandra Susmito, and Mr. Sudarmono Sasmono kindly sign the MOU agreement, and please show the signed MOU to the screen.
Does it work this way?
Yeah, please, for both parties to sign the agreement. And after the signing, you can show the agreement into the screen.
Thank you.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, the MOU of development of small-scale hybrid and standalone wind power plant in Indonesia is officially signed. Please give a round of applause and congratulations for both parties. Thank you for all the participants in this virtual MOU signing ceremony.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we would like to move into the next agenda. So ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to our main agenda, and now we would like to welcome and turn the time over to Mr. Richard Pasaribu, Team Leader Product Application Specialist Industrial Lubricants, Europe, Russia, Africa at Shell, as facilitator discussion on panel 1, with the topic about lesson learned from establishing partnership in sustainable. Mr. Richard, the time is yours.
First panel that we have. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon to you in Indonesia. It is my privilege today to introduce to you three of our panelists who will be giving some perspective and their experience about bringing technology, renewable technology from the Netherlands to Indonesia, and also some few responders that we have. So first of all, we would like to welcome Mr. Rombout Swanborn, the CEO of Hyatt Group. Welcome.
Thank you.
And then we would like to welcome as well Mr. Bapak Latif Gau, Managing Director.
I'm here, but still I will join, yes.
Thank you.
But a little bit late because still the meeting.
Great, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
And we would welcome as well Mr. Bart De Smet, Export and Investment Solution, FMO. Welcome, Mr.
Hello,
De
good
Smet.
morning, good afternoon.
Thank you. And today we have also a couple of responders. We have Interim Director of Business Development Indonesian Power, Bapak Bagus Setiawan. Welcome. And Manager Business Development New and Renewable Energy Pertamina Power Indonesia, Bapak Chandra Asmara. Welcome, Pak.
Good morning, good afternoon.
And then we have also Head of Business Development Medco Power, Bapak Joko Sulistyo Yekti. Welcome, Pak. We have the Deputy Director Energia Prima Nusantara, Bapak Ahmad Rizal.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
We have also as responder the VP Technology for PT Land Industry, Bapak Tarmizi Kemal Lubis. Welcome. And we have the Director of IIPC London, Bapak Aditya Prasta. Welcome.
Morning. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good. So thank you, panelists and responder today. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned before by the Master of Ceremony, we will be discussing about the lesson learned from establishing partnership in sustainable energy technology. What we would like to do in the next hour, we will start with the presentation of our panelists, and we will request every panelist to basically give their presentation. If you can limit it to maximum 10 minutes, we would very much appreciate that. I will start with Mr. Rombout and also Bapak Latif. If you could think about these three questions when you give your presentation, if you can tell a little bit about what the technology is about and what the benefit of the technology is, and also what makes you choose Indonesia as the place where you will implement the technology, and the success story as well as the challenges ahead that you are seeing, and where you think you will face challenges where we can together see the opportunities to bring that to. So let me start with Mr. Swanborn. If you could give your 10-minute pitch presentation, please.
Sure. Thank you very much. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Seeing the time restraints that you kindly reminded me of, I suggest I start by sharing my presentation immediately. You see my presentation?
It's in the process. Yeah, we see it now. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We all know solar PV technology basically from this kind of PV panels. So if you talk about solar PV panels, everybody gets in mind the rectangular, fixed, rigid, heavy panels, quite dark color. However, quite often that brings practical limitations with it. Very often the areas where we would like to apply and use solar PV are not really suited to carry heavy, rigid glass panels. So we've come up with something else, which is a very lightweight, flexible panel, which is, first of all, quite a bit more cost-effective than glass panel PV. LCOE on utility scales around 30% lower. It has a high power density. You can really fill up every available space of area with this material. So each piece of the available area will contribute to power generation. It's very low weight, just about 500 grams, 100 to 500 grams per square meter. It's flexible, can be well deployed, so it's easily transportable. And something which is also quite important, it can be basically locally produced from abundantly available and environmentally raw materials. So this opens up quite a large application market. On the one hand, it is a product that can compete with large-scale utility power plants. But on the other hand, it has the properties that it can reach surfaces where glass panel PV cannot easily have access to. Moreover, because it's a new technology, there's still a very far roadmap in place. Currently, the company is aiming to develop low-cost 20% plus high-efficiency products. To put all the advantages or the characteristics in one row, I would like to mention them one by one. So first of all, we have a product with low module costs, and we are currently aiming for a price point of around 15 cents per watt, which is considerably more cost-effective silicon panels, which currently offer between 21, 22 cents per watt peak. But perhaps even a more important adhesives. BOS costs, our technology development relationship also to Indonesia. The full production process, which is also a nice effect of this product, takes place on the one roof. Currently, crystalline silicon panels originate in 2 or 3 different spots. Basically, the silicon ingots are made in one place, then the wafers are sliced out of the ingots at another place, and then finally the assembly of the actual solar PV panel out of the wafers takes place at the 3rd place. And quite often when people speak about creating solar this is not the case with Hyatt Solar's Powerful. Basically, there we start from polymers, from industrial gases, from aluminum, so widely available and environmentally friendly materials from which the product can be produced. So, for instance, in our Indonesian factory, I believe 95 or 96% of all the raw materials come from Indonesia. A nice aspect is that the product is resistant to high temperatures, and it's ATEX Zone 1 certified. It's one of the few products which is an explosion-proof certification, which means that we currently use it at refineries and also tank storage facilities. And last but least, we are talking about basically the transition, the energy transition. An important element there is the environment. And this product basically is a completely environmentally friendly technology. There are no doubtful raw materials in it. Moreover, the embedded energy, the time the solar panel needs to function in order to earn back its own energy use is less than a year, which is considerably less than glass panels, which are much more energy intensive. And the product is easily recyclable. In Germany, currently, you see large warehouses where old discarded glass panels are being stacked up because it costs quite a bit of energy to recycle them. That's not the case in this product. This is basically the same as the recycling of any plastic product. I'll show you some of our current high-profile projects. We're setting up a pilot at the airport of Dubai. Dubai has got the curved roofs on terminals. These curved roofs are not fit to take the rectangular panels, but they are also not strong enough to carry the weight. So Hyatt Powerful is a nice application. On the other side, on the more industrial application, we have a partnership with Vopak. Vopak is one of the shareholders in Hyatt Solar, and because of the fact that this is an ATEX certified product, it can be used in this environment as well. With the tank tops, it's the same thing. It's lots of free area. However, these tanks cannot carry a large weight, so it needs to be lightweight, which you put on top of the tanks. And moreover, explosion proof is an important aspect here as well. Again, quite a different aspect is IKEA. IKEA obviously has their large blue buildings with light roof structures that cannot carry glass panel, but that can carry Powerful. But moreover, IKEA, we are having discussions with them to see if they can be a B2C channel for our product. We're in contact, by the way, with the 2 IKEA branches in Jakarta as well. Nice opportunity also are football stadiums, same thing. Football stadiums quite often look at transitions, applications, and renewable energy. So here you see the football stadium of Tottenham Hotspur. Here, the football stadium of Juventus Football Club. And all these pictures that I show are renders of the final project. They are not realized yet, but with each of these companies, we are doing pilots that will basically lead to a large-scale deployment of this technology. I'd like to briefly touch upon our partnership with Pertamina, which currently Pertamina, a corporate organization, and PPI. So Pertamina Power Indonesia. It is a partnership that started up, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, and for us, Pertamina is the ideal partner. Obviously, for company like Hyatt Solar that focuses on the development of solar PV technology, we need to have good partners that know the local conditions quite well, and that can help us to build up the local infrastructure in countries where we need that. Indonesia is quite a good example. And with Pertamina, we have been able to build up a very friendly collegial relationship, and we are very happy that we work with Pertamina. In our partnership in Indonesia, we also have LEN as a second partner. And LEN is the Indonesian Semiconductor Institute. So projects in Indonesia currently, you might recognize the Gelora Bung Karno Stadium. It's a wonderful landmark. It is an honor that we've been invited to do a project on this, well, I think, important building in the city. We're discussing setting up a pilot at the moment. But closer to home to Pertamina, we are looking also at this point in time to cover their refueling stations, which are quite often lightweight canopies as well that cannot carry the weight of glass panels. And here you see our integrated team in Jakarta already working on the first of such pilots. With Pertamina, we are discussing quite some other applications as well within Pertamina and outside of it within Indonesia. Example, the tank farms that Pertamina has in the country, but also, for instance, Terminal 3 of the Jakarta airport. I would like to show you also some slides from the perspective of Pertamina. And we once organized jointly with Pertamina a joint symposium here in the Netherlands. I'll show you some slides that provide you their perspective. So why Pertamina is interested in amorphous silicon thin film PV? I think one important aspect is what I just mentioned. All production processes are within one company, and all raw materials come from within Indonesia. So no import of expensive half products from China is required. It can be used on areas where you cannot use crystalline silicon, although it can compete with crystalline silicon in large-scale applications if you would wish. And it has all the advantages of being light and flexible. This is more or less how the current project looks like. So basically, as I mentioned, Pertamina, LEN, Hyatt form a joint venture that jointly create a licensed factory in Indonesia. And the licensed factory will be jointly operated and will be ensured of its technology from the Netherlands through a license contract. We will start with a small capacity of 40 megawatt per year, but with the intention to extend that quickly to 300 megawatt per year. The area that has been selected is Balaraja, which is close to Jakarta, and all the key raw materials can be sourced from within Indonesia. This is the original time schedule, and currently we have just finalized the technology verification. We have started up the FEED study for the factory, and we will well, expect within the coming weeks to sign the final contracts pending on CAPEX and OPEX validations that we have so far. So we are, from our side, you here, a happy investor. You asked me one question, Richard, and that is why Indonesia. Now, for us, Indonesia is compelling because it lies logistically centrally within the ASEAN area, which is an important area for us to sell our products. But secondly, Indonesia has become for us also a very compelling area to consider setting up our licensed factory.
Other banks, and then of course energy, and that's now exclusively renewable energies. We are officially a bank. We have actually a AAA status on which we are very proud, and we operate under the supervision of the Dutch bank. We are still a small organization compared to some other, let's say, larger banks. We have now about 700 employees, but very diverse community. We come from 57 different nationalities. Me, myself, I'm from Belgium. And actually, we are also very proud that we have a very equal gender balance. So about 1 in 2 employees is actually from the other gender. Going to really generate contribution or stimulate contributions from other parties, and we call that then mobilized funds. We're also managing a few funds from the Dutch government that we also invest for this purpose. Looking at so we have a total portfolio of committed investments of about 10 billion, and then of which about 3 billion is in the energy sector. Most of our investments are in US dollar or euro, but important to know is that we can really invest in local currencies, which is definitely which differentiates us from certain commercial banks. And most of our investments are actually taking place by means of loans, but we are also capable of providing equity investments. Good. Looking at our geographic presence, so we are active worldwide in emerging markets, developing countries. So we are not active in North America, US, Canada, not in Western Europe, but Africa is actually our most important continent. And then on the second place, we have Asia, where mostly South Asia with India, Pakistan, are very, very important markets. And then further, we're also active in Latin America, although our activity there is decreasing actually compared to the other regions. Going back on our key markets and zooming into what we do in the energy market, well, we invest mostly in renewable energy production projects. So one of them is the most important of them is definitely wind. We're also active in solar, geothermal projects, hydro projects, and more and more also in off-grid solutions. And we start also looking into transmission and distribution projects, but that's still rather new for us. As mentioned, we have different investment products. What's important, I think, to mention is that definitely for loans that we provide to energy projects, that we can provide financing with very long tenors, so up to 18 years, depending, of course, on some people may have noticed that we haven't done any project in Indonesia yet. That's correct. So basically, as mentioned, Africa is for us very important, and then in Asia, it's mostly actually concentrated in India. So far, we've done some projects in Bangladesh, but in Indonesia, Southeast Asia, we haven't done any project yet, which doesn't mean that we are not eager to do anything there. And that brings me actually to my next slides. So right now we are pursuing a few opportunities in the country. Two of them will actually be touched upon today. So the first one is the Palmyra tidal power plant in Larantuka in Flores in NTT province, which Pak Latif will talk about after me. So I'm not going to say much about that. Another project we are still looking at, and hopefully, and we hope to play a role in, is a remote island electrification project that we do together with the Dutch company Green Rhino Energy Solutions. And that project actually relies on it consists of a system of hybrid power plants relying on batteries and small solar parks. And then last but not least, there is also the project that Mr. Swamborn just talked about, that's the PV silicon thin film manufacturing plant that he is now actually preparing to invest in together with Pertamina and PT Len in Indonesia. I'm not going to dig into the details of that project, but we as FMO also hope to be able to play a role in the financing of this project. Lessons learned in Indonesia. Well, as mentioned, we haven't invested in the energy sector yet. So our lessons learned are mostly based on what we've experienced in the years, in the past couple of years while pursuing financing opportunities. And the first thing we definitely learned is that there is a completely different kind of dynamics between government procured projects and let's say private initiatives. And with private initiatives, I would also like to include initiatives like the one of Hyatt Solar together with Pertamina. I would perhaps corporate initiatives would be a better name than private, but we see that there is definitely a big difference. I will come back on this right away. So and basically what we've learned is that it takes time. So time is actually it's something very, very crucial, and that you absolutely need to develop a project and to also hope to actually come to a financial close for a project. Mm-hmm. And why does it take so much time? And now again, I'm mostly so it's really not easy for an external party like we were, and also together with the developers to really find out which regulation is applicable. Then since renewable energy sector is still quite new, it's not all that is under negotiation together with PLN, where they would act as the procuring party. But for a long time, it was actually assumed it was not clear who would be the procuring party, who would be the project owner. And then together with the project developers, we've been in discussions with the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources. There were contacts with the coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs. We had meetings with Bapadas. We met with the Ministry of Finance. So it was really, it was not clear which process was actually to be followed. And then also, which also listed here, which government entity was actually really responsible and was actually capable and willing to act as the owner of the project. So we're very happy that now it's clear that PLN is now taking that responsibility, but for a long time it was actually not clear. So it really took time before this became clear. And then also, as a bank, of course, we want to know, is there really financing needed? And if it's needed, in which form do you actually want to prefer this financing, attractive financing? So this was also something that takes a long time. Again, what I just mentioned is mostly related to the projects where there is an important role for the government. So private initiatives, of course, and that's also what Rombout Swamboy just shared, initiatives where you talk between companies, that there definitely the dynamics are different. Challenges we faced, which will not be surprises for most people here in the call. Okay, the policy stability, that's definitely one of the issues I mentioned already last time. There is, what we also faced is that at different instances, both at the level of ministries, but also at the corporate level, actually people changed jobs, which is a good thing, I think, but there was not always a proper knowledge transfer to the successor. And that made us and definitely the developers lose quite some time. So that's also something that could, I think, be better, let's say, the transition process. Then another point where I see the government is really making efforts now, which is good, is a level playing field between, on the one hand, renewable energy projects, and on the other hand, the fossil fuels projects. So I think by phasing out subsidies, by also taking into account externalities of fossil fuel projects, this level playing field can definitely be improved. Another thing that definitely plays, and especially also for us, where we try to stimulate to a certain extent the involvement of Dutch companies. There are also the local content requirements that apply in Indonesia. I understand where this comes from. We are not against it, but the question is whether that's always the best choice for the country. So in some cases, it really jeopardizes the potential success of a project because you are forced to use local technology, which is not necessarily the best one for in the given circumstances. So that's also something to look into. And then another point I wish to mention, and that's of course something we can elaborate on for a very long time, but that's what we call as a bank the bankability of the power purchase agreement. Of course, if we are talking about IPP, those independent power projects or PPP structures, where these structures actually sell the power they generate to PLN in this case, then of course a PLN, the PPA needs to be to contain conditions that are acceptable for a bank, and not only us and my colleagues from the energy department that looked into private initiatives in Indonesia, but also lots of other banks actually said that the conditions included in the PPA proposed by PLN, and I'm talking about the past, so I don't know how it is right now, were very difficult, bankable, so were not always easy to digest for financing parties. And then last but not least, I think that all renewable energy projects would definitely benefit from a framework of incentives and de-risking measures. If that could be applied to these projects, then I think that there would definitely be even more appetite from local and international investors to play a role in these projects, and also make it easier to actually provide financing for them. Okay, but that's my presentation. So I hope this is somehow useful for all of you. Thank you.
It is very useful. Thank you very much, Mr. Smet. And maybe a quick question from my side before I move over to Pak Latif. You mentioned a lot about Africa and how you focus in Africa. Compared to Indonesia, how attractive is Indonesia for your investment portfolio, as well as the risk profile of Indonesia as a country for investment from your organization point of view? Maybe if you can elaborate quickly about those two.
Well, I can say that the risk profile of Indonesia as a country is definitely much lower than the risk profile of projects in Africa. The reason why we haven't invested in projects yet in Indonesia is indeed first of all, the private sector, okay, we really saw some challenges in the regulatory framework, in the bankability of the PPA. So basically the challenges, some of them I mentioned already. Whereas in Africa, even African countries, you would be surprised, but sometimes, okay, the regulatory framework for this kind of projects is actually quite interesting, because, okay, these countries have been assisted by multilaterals like the World Bank, or actually to set up these frameworks. And okay, that makes them attractive for us as a financing party. But generally speaking, and that's why we are so interested and eager to do things in Indonesia, the market is enormous, the impact we can create is substantial, and of course the country there is political stability. The risk in general is much lower than in other areas where we operate. So we hope to do something there.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Ismail. So I would like to move to our next panelist, Bapak Latif Gao. If you could give a quick overview of the technology you're bringing into Indonesia and the challenges you face so far. Time is yours, Pak Latif.
Okay, terima kasih Pak Henry. Thank you very much for the time. Thank you very much, Bart, and all participants to be present and to already mentioned a little bit about my project, and it's already stated in your presentation on the progress which we are making so far. Can you see my presentation, gentlemen, ladies?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it's a bit about the tidal bridge, which Bart already mentioned briefly on this. Again, this project was started already in 2016, 2015 actually. In 2016, we signed head of agreement during the visit of President Jokowi to the Netherlands. It was signed in The Hague last time, but it took so long, especially because this technology consists of energy, which is related to Minister of Energy, and bridge, which is related to Minister of Infrastructure, PUPR. So that's start that complication actually in the beginning. So if you look at the tidal energy potential, you see there's a huge potential in the world of the tidal energy. Based on the International Maritime Organization, they found that it's more than 7,800 terawatt hour per year. And of course, you look at Indonesia. Indonesia is in between two big oceans, which is the Samudra India and Pacific Ocean. And in between, you have 1,000 islands. And those waves are moving from one ocean to another, going through the small strait of the islands. And that's why you have a lot of potential basically in Indonesia for the tidal energy. But why is not explored so far, despite the difficulties as just mentioned by Bart, but also the fact that the technology was not there. The technology was available in this setup, which is very big, very expensive. It just costs a lot of capital, and the price for the kilowatt hour is about 50 cents, even 60 cents. If you put it like this on the ocean bed, seabed on the ocean, then you will get kind of park under the ocean, which is not easy because the surface of the ocean is also not flat. Sometimes it's hills and many others biodiversity inside the sea. So at that time, we are surveying Indonesia, and then we came to Larantuka, which is the strait between Flores Island and Adonara. At that time, they already planned, the local government already planned to build a bridge connecting these two islands, just as a bridge. But the cost was almost $400,000 US, not only bridge. And when we survey the area, we find out that the current on that particular strait, the narrow strait, less than 1 kilometers, and very shallow one, so we can have very good potential for energy, tidal energy, which is also confirmed by BPPT, because BPPT has already surveyed and researched on this particular strait for almost 10 years, and they found that there's even potential to produce 300 megawatt megawatt electricity per year. Why then we came up to the location and we bring our technology from the Netherlands, which is bridge. So you see that the bridge, the turbine will be not in the seabed, but will be mounted under the bridge. So the bridge will be two function, connecting to island, and underneath we put the turbine to generate electricity. That's why we call it tidal bridge, and that is the technology which we have already in the Netherlands. This one is in Oosterscheldekering in the Zeeland, where we have this existing bridge already that built in 1980. It is, and this is actually used as a water defense for this province because it was a big flooding in the year 50. In that particular bridge, we put our turbine. Unfortunately, this bridge is not designed to have a horizontal force, but instead a vertical force. So the government do not allow us to put much more turbine underneath. So they give us only one segment, which we put here 2 megawatt, 1.5, 2 megawatts. Potentially, we can even all segment, we can put it even 100, 200, because I think this segment is in total 6 kilometers long, this bridge. But again, this is an existing bridge, which is not designed to have horizontal force additional from force from turbine. So this is the one that we installed. It was in 2014 already installed, and its operation in 2015 has been visited by Ministry of Maritime, Ministry of ESDM, even from province of NTT. This is the setup, the engine, the turbine, which we put underneath the bridge. Again, back to the location. Yeah, so it is between the Adonara and the Flores Island. We make a design, we have FS, we have a study, deep study on the surface, on the biodiversity on the area. I have so many slides here, so I can just go quick. So basically, this is the technology which we propose in this case. Again, why the tidal energy was not still exposed, because of the current technology, which is only a seabed technology. You put the turbine under the seabed. It was very expensive, very complicated. And while our technology, the one that we implemented in the Netherlands, is using a bridge, this technology, and then we put turbine under the bridge. That's multifunction, connecting the island and producing electricity. We have many possibility to use turbine. There's a Tocado turbine, a Scotter turbine, a fishbowl turbine, but we finally decide to use only the fishbowl turbine. Also the fact that in that strait, there is a migration of the fish every year through the strait. So we have to manage that no fish are harmed during the operation of the turbine. That's why we call it, okay. So this is the turbines, the cross section and the bridge and the floating and the base of the seabed. This is the sample of turbine that we are going to use, but this is the small one. This is only 2 meters. The one that we are going to implement is 8 meters diameter. It's very huge, big turbine, which can produce 1 megawatt per turbine. So the installation will look like this on the under the bridge. And then you can see here much more, and you can see that the fish can still flow into the turbine, because this is 10 meters and the fish is, okay, let's say 2 meters breadth. This is just more image. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. This is the image. Can you see? This is the image of the turbine, screw turbine. So the fish can still pass by. This was really appreciated by the Greenpeace, because in the beginning, when we present this, they say, hey, are you going to make a sushi factory in that strait? So no, we are not going to harm any fish on that particular strait with our turbine. So even we make even if it trucks trucks can go pass by because it's a screw system. Yeah, so this even the owner of the turbine says, I can swim in between, it's no problem actually. So again, this is the process that we have been through, starting the signature with, actually at that time, the PU was not present in the Netherlands on the visit of Jokowi on the April 22nd, 2016. We have, again, MOU 2018 with PLN for the connectivity study, load study, distribution to the island, and risk analysis on the load and everything. Our site has been visited by all ministers, basically, Pak Luhut, Pak Jonan at the time, PLN people, Ibu Minister of BUMN at the time, PU at that time. But again, discussion went on. And then we have also MOU on the 31st of October last year. There's basically agreement with PLN that we are going to proceed to develop this project. And now we are discussing the final agreement, basically. This was actually the result of the study on the connectivity, load, risk analysis. And that's also the Bart already mentioned. So Bart already providing a letter of intent to PLN to finance this project completely and 100% finance. So it's very specific, very special. So, our plan is already included in the RUPTL. So it's already in the PLN business plan. This again, another technology due diligence done by Surabaya. So basically, I think I'm going, no, okay, this is then the last design of the fixed bridge. This design was made by the university, by the student of University Kupang, Cendana. We make competition at that time and they win the prize. So we choose this design to be a design of the bridge. The bridge look like this. This is in the Adonara and in Larantuka side. There is in the Adonara side. So in the left side, you can see that they will have many buildings here. This is an image because this Catholic and Christian era. So we will make an architecture and building based on the local requirement. Yeah. So this is the image again. This impression we said we will build. What we plan to build here is that we think that we can produce even 100 megawatt, but the requirement from PLN is only 30 or 40. By the time when the market is increased, the demand increase, we can increase also the production based on the demand. Again, this is the site. So I hope that I did not take too long time.
It was okay, Pak Latif.
Very quick. Maybe we can discuss later things that may be interested for participant who is present in this webinar.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Please.
Thank you very much, Pak Latif, for the presentation. Indeed. So maybe before I ask the responder, Pak Latif, maybe quickly, if you could mention a couple of the challenges that you face in the past 3 years of the projects. We heard the the many parties and many departments you need to convince on these projects. So any challenges that you face that you would like to further elaborate?
Yes, I think it's very nicely summarized by Bart de Smet on the challenges that we are facing, because basically that's it. Also the fact that this technology consists of a bridge and the power plant. There is simply no regulation to combine this technology together. When you talk to PUPR, they say, okay, I like this idea, it's very good, and we need the bridge, we need the connectivity, but we don't know nothing about energy. So we go to the ESDM, to the Minister of Energy, same thing. They like the idea, the program, the target is to increase the renewable energy program project in the coming years, but they cannot touch anything, they cannot say anything about the bridge. So here we go. It really took us about 2 years, just ping pong from one ministry to another. That's one thing. So this regulation here what matters. Second is, yeah, again, is also mentioned very clearly by Bart, which entities, CEO. I discussed this project with 4 PLN CEO. So you can imagine, when you discuss with the previous CEO, then you're almost done. Then coming new CEO, and then you have to discuss it again. Okay, you have step back. I don't know, maybe 1-2 step back, and then you're almost there. Then change to the new CEO again. Then you step back again, 1-2-3 step back, and then so that's what happened as well. Unfortunately, for this case, that I have to convince 4 CEO of PLN. Finally, now that let's say the light at the end of the tunnel, that we agree all of the items, we just have to put all the comma and the I, and we say, okay, that's it. But it took me 5 years for this project. Yes.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for your energy,
yeah.
Latif. Excellent. Great.
Thank you,
thank you, panelists, for your presentation and also nice discussion that we had so far. Let me turn to our responder. I would like to ask Bapak Chandra from Pertamina if you could respond to the technology that Hyatt is bringing in. They are very excited with the new technology and also collaboration with Pertamina. Could you say a little bit from your perspective how this technology could be used in Pertamina?
Okay, thank you very much, Pak. Okay, thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Pertamina, basically, I would like to introduce that we already changed our perspective from the oil and gas company to become the energy company. And it's meaning that the development not only in oil and gas but also renewable energy will become one of the key factor for the sustainable business for Pertamina. So in related with that technology, as you all know, that it's become the major changes in terms of the people behaviors, business and other things. It can be to accelerate the changes is through technology. So that's why we take parts in terms of developing new technology that can sustain our plan. Yeah, maybe if I can show a little bit about the Pertamina's program. Yeah, allowed, right, to share a bit. Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you seen the slides? Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Now. Okay. This is our Pertamina through Pertamina Power Indonesia as a subholding for power and renewable. We will be managing the business of Pertamina in terms of renewable energy as well. Yeah. So with here we separate from the green energy, renewable energy, and also manufacturing business. This is as you heard, that Pertamina also interested in terms of in the manufacture of the solar based technology like thin films, like solar cell, and also for battery manufacturing. In order to sustain our other business like a renewable project that we have, like a solar, biomass, hydro, wind, biofuel, and other renewable and green energies. So this is our portfolios. Yes, yeah, it's various, but as mentioned by Pak Dadan this afternoon, that mainly the solar PV can become the biggest contributor, because Indonesia itself has a lot of potential for the renewable, especially for solar. So the restrictions in terms of the land, in terms of the positions which can be done by the new technology application is also beneficial for us in term to boost our portfolio in terms of the renewable energies. So this is our roadmaps. Yeah, basically it's quite aligned with all the program from the government, especially to support the Paris Agreement, which are we also want to contribute as much as possible for the emission reductions. Yeah, this is I put the one of the 4 key strategies. The first is strategic partnership, stakeholder management, financing, and technology R&D. by partnering with the technology provider that is we can also have some advance in terms of the how we get the skill set in order to get the new technology, yeah, we're not left behind, yeah, and also to support our current business, something like that. So we are taking very positive in terms of the collaboration with the Hyatt as well. I think my colleagues also have some discussions with the Pak Rombut teams. Yeah, we're waiting for the results, and also we expecting to have a good result as well. Yeah, I think that's from me, Pak.
Thank you, Pa. It's good to hear, you know, that the higher technology is actually fitting to your bigger picture in Pertamina. Now let me also move to land industry, Bapak Tarmizi. If you could give your response and also you know, your view on solar technology and the technology of Hyatt. How does it fit to your bigger vision? Bapak Tarmizi from land industry. Now, if not, then let me move then to Pak Ahmad from Prima Ustara. Is there anything that that you see the potential of higher technology in Indonesia? How does it fit your vision of your company?
Okay, so thank you very much for the time. Let me introduce briefly about the our company. So the Energia Prima Nusantara is a subsidiary of Astra International, one of the big corporation in Indonesia, span from the automotive industry, then to the heavy equipment mining, construction and energy, and also we have plantation, etc. So Energia Prima Nusantara is the core for the power business in Astra. So we already developed several IPP project, but before is used fossil fuel, but now we also already changed to the renewable energy. So basically we have several project of renewable energy in the pipeline, not only solar, we have also hydro, solar PV, and also wind. But besides cooperate with the PLN, we also would like to have, there is some demand from our affiliated company for this, to install some solar rooftop in their buildings and also their manufacture. So actually we are also quite interested to the product of the Hyatt. So actually we would like to have more information from the Hyatt regarding, first is about the durability of the thin film compared to the solar panel, and also the efficiency, and also the especially like a scratch resistant or the degradation of the performance, and also the warranty that this product can be given to provide to the developer, because this is also related to the, if it is because from I see from the target price, the cost per watt peak is quite attractive if it can reach 0.15%, and also the less cost of the balance of the system. So actually we would like to have, if possible, to have more discussion with the Hyatt in order to look into some possibilities to install in our facilities.
That's very interesting, Pak Ahmad. Maybe Mr. Swanburn, maybe you can respond quickly to that request. You are on mute.
The subject of.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will respond very quickly. It might not be the main subject of your symposium, but we will gladly be in contact with you, Ahmad, to provide for more. But to quickly touch upon the different issues you mentioned is that the reliability of thin film silicon typically is a bit better than crystalline silicon. We count on having degradation rates of something between 0.5% to 0.7% per year. So we guarantee lifetimes of 25 to 30 years, which is also a little bit longer period than for crystalline silicon. But we'll gladly get back to you with more information. I assume that Bayrat, you can provide us with our addresses.
Absolutely, we'll connect.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Swanborn. Now, let me get back to Pak Tarmizi from Land Industry. Pak Tarmizi, if you could give some few response to solar PV technology, the technology that Hyatt is bringing forward. Anything from your side that you would like to add to the discussion? We cannot hear you, Pak Tarmizi. Maybe you're on mute. Pak Tarmizi, we cannot hear you. Unmute, please. Okay, so well, the technical team is connecting with Pak Tarmizi. Maybe we can move to Indonesian Power, Bapak Bagus Setiawan. Pak Bagus, if you could respond or give some view of your perspective on the technology that Tidal Bridge is bringing in. Any view on the applicability of this technology in a wider location or more locations in Indonesia? How do you see it? Pak Bagus Setiawan. Yeah, go ahead, Pak. Seems that you're on mute again. Can you? You're on mute. We cannot hear you. Now we can.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you ask me? Bagus?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
So go ahead, Pak Bagus.
Okay. Me, yeah? Okay, thank you, Mr. Pasaribu, for the time to giving to me. I'm interested with Mr. Swanborn about solar cell, about solar cell, That you said that your product resistant to high temperature and UV and good cleanability, I heard that from some scientists in Indonesia that irradiation in Indonesia is a little bit higher in case of high temperature, and also in Indonesia have volcanic dust. As you know that Indonesia is a volcanic country, so is your product is suitable for Indonesia. And second is, I'm interested that why you choose Balaraja and Subang as your project. Because in your slide, you said that irradiation in Indonesia is higher in the eastern Indonesia, not in the western of Indonesia, especially Java West. Okay, and second, I have a question for Mr. Smet, about the tidal. We are very welcome to develop cooperations to develop tidal power plants. Because Indonesia Power also have coordination with PPPT and ITS to develop to study about tidal. And we offer to Mr. Smets to discuss for deeper understanding about the Indonesian regulator and also Indonesian policy, as you said on the lesson learned in Indonesia, yeah. And we very welcome if you come with geothermal technology. Yeah, we have many resources of geothermal. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. Maybe I could start with Mr. De Smet to respond first quickly to the question.
Well, no, thank you very much for the invitation. I think we will definitely use the opportunity to enter in further discussions with PLN. But just to make one thing clear, we of course as a development bank, we are not a project developer. So we need to be approached by a developer that wants to rely on our financing before we really will engage into discussions. So we would be really happy to enter into discussions, and as I said, with PLN, together then with potential project developers, as we are right now doing with Tidal Bridge already.
Sorry, I cannot hear. You are mute.
Yeah, no, I pushed the wrong button. Can happen.
No, just the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, no, okay, we will definitely reach out on the next occasion. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then maybe quickly, Mr. Swanborn, on the issue of volcanic ash in Indonesia and also the radiation issues.
Sorry. You hear me? Yeah, I think
yeah, we can hear you.
I hear you.
So first question is this product suited for Indonesia because of the higher radiation and high temperatures in Indonesia? I think that's a good question. It's one of the big advantages of Indonesia, the higher radiation. So Indonesia should really embrace, in that sense, solar PV. A few places in the world where you have that nice sun as you have in your country. But thin film silicon actually is very well suited high operating temperatures, where you have something like an energy yield curve that typically goes down with the increase in temperature. That energy yield curve goes down quite quick with crystalline silicon, but much less steep with amorphous thin film silicon. So for that reason, if you have an environment where you have high operating temperatures, thin film silicon is very well suited. And I think this might have been also one of the reasons of Pertamina and LEN to look at this technology. Secondly, dust, which is an important issue as well. Each and every solar PV installation needs to be cleaned regularly. However, the modules of Powerful are much bigger. They can be up to 30 meters long and 1.4 meters wide, and you can put them together closely. So that opens the possibility to have automatic robotic cleaning. And that is not the case with crystalline silicon panels, that quite often where cleaning still is very much a manual activity. So also in case of dust, it is preferable to go to these kind of new technologies. They are better suited. Then you asked me, why Jakarta? There are other places in Indonesia with a higher radiation. That's true. But we don't intend to sell our product only where the factory is. We had a long decision selection matrix for the factory. And we nearly went to Subang area of Lem. We chose in the end for Balaraja, close to Jakarta, because of the harbor being close by. We intend to export the product also to other areas in the ASEAN area. So the close proximity of logistical hub is important. Access to trained personnel is important as well. We will need to have access to personnel that is well educated, and we obviously find that closer to the main city hubs. And then a third reason that I like myself very much, Pertamina is setting up an industrial estate on Malaraja where more renewable energy activities are located, like for instance, a battery factory. And there already you can see that there might be synergies between these activities that are, although quite different in what they do, they might still be of benefit quite a bit to share common resources. So these are the three reasons for Malaraja.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swanbon, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pasaribu.
Yes, thank you, Max. Now, let me try to move again to Pak Tarmizi. Pak Tarmizi, can you hear us okay?
Thank you for the time. Yes, sorry for the technical problem before. Yeah. Can you hear my voice now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you give some response to technology.
Yes, I want to concentrate to 2 points of view of Mr. Rambot presented about the bankability of PPE and incentives and the risking. Yeah, this is our, we also always talking about this for our government, yeah. But this is a challenge for other government that want to compete in Indonesia. As we can see from Chinese company, they also bring the financing from their country to entering tender Indonesia. Yeah, but Netherlands has a bigger opportunity than Chinese because the volume, the scale of the PPA. Yeah, as we can see from the Rambot presentation, that this factory can start from the 40 megawatt per year capacity. As we know, in Chinese, almost all companies invest in more than 1 gigabyte per year. This is a big chance for the Netherlands for the I-8 because can start in only 40 megawatts. But the problem is also the financing. Yeah, as a Chinese company bring the financing from their country. As we know, Indonesian rate not so compete with Europe and Chinese and other countries. So it's better if we bring the financing from abroad. And this is also the challenge for our government, yeah, to solve this problem. And then the other key points how to win Indonesian market is the electricity price, yeah, because the authority to selling electricity is in the PLN. Yeah, we know that PLN. And if we want to sell the electricity to PLN asking us as the power producers, can you supply us the electricity with minimum 40%, 80% or 70% below the PLN productivity cost, BHP, yeah? This is the challenge, yeah? Or we can sell directly B2B in one community. So we not sell through the PLN main line. That's my point of view, how to win Indonesia.
Okay.
A market for the electricity. Okay,
yes.
I give you to.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Tarmizi. We missed you in the last 10 seconds, but I think it's the 2 points that you mentioned was clearly articulated. Maybe a quick response, Part Desmet, if perhaps you can quickly respond to the comments from Pak Tarmizi on the bankability issue.
No, I basically agree with the assessment that that indeed, yeah, what would I say? Definitely the obligation to sell power to PLN is yeah, can be a handicap for basically for developers compared to other countries where okay, this obligation does not exist. Just one more comment on the financing that Pat Misi made. So the whole idea is indeed that that from the Netherlands we also develop a financing solution linked to basically to Dutch technology. So that's why we are closely working together with the people of Hyatt, also with the people of Tidal Bridge, to really provide an attractive financing package to the procuring authority in the case of Tidal Bridge and to the project in the case of Hyatt. So it's definitely not only the Chinese that bring financing. We also do our best to do the same from the Netherlands.
Thank you, Bart. Pak Latif Gau, any comments to that? Anything to add?
Sorry again. What was the question?
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry. What was the
yes,
question again?
about you know, the pricing of and then the supply of energy to PLN.
The price of the supply of energy to PLN.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This, if you see a rule of thumb, normally the renewable energy presumed as the more expensive than a normal energy, but it's not the case always. If you look at the thin film as highest production, highest product, it is cheaper than even the coal. Yeah. Also the fact that the build of system are very cheap because you don't need all expensive frame, a bracket, and those kind of things. Same as my project with Tidal. Of course, you have to build the bridge, but the bridge will pay by itself. And actually, it depends on the financial model you use. Our cost price starting from 5 cents per kilowatt hour. But of course, PLN has their own financial model, which, for instance, they say, no, we have to write off the bridge in 20 years, while actually the bridge can go up to 100 years, 50 years, 100 years. And also the power plant, if you write it off in 20 years, that makes, of course, the price goes up. But if you write off the power plant to 30 years, for instance, you really end up with 5-7 cents per kilowatt hours. So it depends on how you look at it. So again, the renewable energy is not necessarily more expensive than the fossil energy. So that's actually my my observation.
Thank you, Pak Latif.
Yeah.
Clear. Yes. I would like to turn to Pak Joko Sulistyo from Medco Power.
Okay. Thank you, Henry, and I thank you for the very nice presentation. And it's always nice to see the perspective of a foreign company towards Indonesia in sustainable energy, especially. And I think Mr. Bart from FMO has nicely summarized all the challenges in Indonesia. Yeah. And I think I took but do you still have time to explain a bit, 30 seconds about Medco Power?
Yeah, go ahead. Especially if you can bring in the perspective of Medco,
yes,
you know, bringing technology outside Indonesia. Maybe that's a different perspective.
Okay, but
you can see.
Yeah. So Medco is actually a group company. We originally started our business in oil and gas, similar like Pertamina. But then right now we have mainly 3 pillars of business: oil and gas, mining, and the last is power through Medco Power Indonesia, where I belong. And we were established in 2004, and I think our business is mainly as an IPP and also operation and maintenance of the power plant. Our parent company is a listed company, in Jakarta Stock Exchange. And I think what differentiates us from other private IPP in Indonesia is that actually we can only invest in clean and renewable energy. So we're not allowed by our shareholder to invest in coal. So in that sense, I think it's aligned with the global direction to move into a more sustainable energy resources in Indonesia. Yeah. And Medco Power itself is having mainly for platforms. One is the gas to power. The second is geothermal. The third is renewable. So we are working in a mini hydro. Currently developing solar PV, both PLN and captive project. I think the total is closely to 70 or 75 megawatt. And the last is the operation and maintenance of power plant. So we basically do the operation and maintenance of our own IPP and also the third party power plant. And I think what interesting from the presentation, I think some key takeaways, on the renewable development in Indonesia. I think what differentiates the three speakers are, I think the first is actually innovation. It's not only innovation in technology, but I think innovation in financing is obviously important because as Len said previously, not only lenders or banks from Europe, but a lot of lenders from around the globe, from China, from Japan, ADB, IFC, JBIC are targeting Indonesia as their investment country. So I think in that sense, not only innovation, but also innovation, not only innovation in technology, but also innovation in financing is obviously important. And I think the second, I think I like the way Hyatt Energy Tidal Bridge is trying to enter into Indonesian market. It's not targeting the common market that a lot of players from the globe are trying to get in, and some are already established, but they're trying. But Hyatt Solar and also FMO and Tidal Bridge is targeting the niche market. I think that's also the other important one. And some challenges that FMO listed, for example, like local content is actually trying to be addressed by Hyatt Energy, by Hyatt Solar, by developing a manufacturer company in Indonesia. I think in that sense, you can optimize the local utilization, and in a way, it may address the local content challenges. Yeah. And then bankable PPA, obviously, like a colleague from Len said, even though there are some terms are remain to be improved, but the fact that ADB, for example, ADB, IOC, and other potential lenders around the globe are trying to and already implement the power purchase agreement between IPP and PLN. I think that also shows that Indonesia is the PPA itself is actually from time to time is improved and become bankable. So I think it's about time that all the PPA template will be bankable. Yeah. So I think some question, I think for example for SMO, for example, do you have a target in terms of a project size in Indonesia to be developed? And I think that's one question for FMO. And for Hyatt Solar, I think optimizing by developing a local manufacturer in Indonesia is you can address the local content issue, but probably I have a question on whether the pricing competitiveness will be addressed as well. And I think for the tidal bridge, well, IPB project is always a marathon project, yeah, but it's not a sprint. So you need a long run for that one. And tidal bridge, I just wondering whether you have another location as your target instead of the one you tried to establish from 2016. I think those all from me, Pak Henry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak. So maybe a quick round to the panelists on the question, starting from Pak Desmet. You have a target size of projects in Indonesia?
Well, no, we don't have a specific target size. Usually we apply a minimum financing amount from FMO of $10 million or euro. But we can go way beyond that. But typically, let's say if the ticket size becomes 100 million or more, we will try to syndicate with other parties. However, in an early stage, which we are in now, we typically we are happy to take the lead and then involve parties in the deal when it becomes more concrete. But 10 million is the minimum. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Swanborn, if you could comment on the pricing in combination with the competitiveness and also local content in your project.
Typically, well, as Pak Joko mentioned, we obviously first try to aim for the niche markets. Although we could tackle large-scale utility-scale power plants as well. Obviously, price pressure there is much higher than in the niche market. Quite often, or in many of the niche markets that we're targeting now, crystalline silicon panels simply are not an option. So we have moved away there from price pressure at all, which doesn't mean that we can charge anything we would like. We still like to keep our total costs, so BOS plus module prices, somewhere in the neighborhood, perhaps a little bit higher than crystalline silicon. We see that the market supports that, and that typically gives a very attractive operating margin. What you mentioned as well, Pajoko, what I appreciated, putting the factory, locating the factory in Indonesia is obviously a very effective way to create your local content and your localization. But as important to have your factory there, it becomes even more important to have a reliable joint venture partner that has the local knowledge that obviously many people that come or invest for the first time in Indonesia don't have. So I would say there you have the two parts of the equation that needs to balance out.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rombouts. And maybe quickly to Pak Latif Gao, do you have any other location you are eyeing for your new tidal bridge technology?
Okay, for the tidal, yes, indeed. Before we started and end up in Larantuka, we have been traveling throughout Indonesia, from Halmahera to Bau-Bau, Selat Sunda, even Toyopake, Selat Molo, Selat Alas. There are many potentials in Indonesia. The reason why we start in Larantuka at that time because the governor already planned to build a bridge at that time. So that's why we said, okay, why don't we just start and focus here? Because the bridge will be built and the plan is there. So we just propose our solution to have this technology include bridge and the power plant with the finance. So the local governors was very happy with the idea, and of course that they would like to see whether this technology are proven yes or no. So they went to the Oosterschelde-Kering in the Netherlands to have a look and feel whether it is applicable and suitable for this site. But again, there are many potential, as I mentioned at the very beginning of my presentation. Hydropower is huge in the world. Yeah. To be honest, I was also approached by many people from Philippines. Philippines is also islands, or even in Japan. There are many trade there, but just mentioned to them that we are focused on one project first, and later we always can discuss further. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pak Latif.
Thank
Now
you.
let me turn to Pak Aditya Prasta.
Thank you, Mr. Pasaribu. It's an honor to be here amongst a lot of Indonesian experts of renewable energies here. And maybe a quick remarks about my office in London. IPC London is basically the representative office of BKPM. So I'm working under the chairman of BKPM and the deputy chairman for promotion investment, who was also the one of the opening remarks in this forum, Mr. Ikmal Lukman. So basically, we are collaborating with our embassies, Mr. Ambassador's team in Den Haag also for European investment to Indonesia, and of course, a lot of stakeholders in Indonesia to be cooperated with future investors from across the European region. So maybe a quick comment for FMO, Mr. Desmet, maybe related to your financing options. Is there any possibility for FMO to also finance maybe outside the Netherlands, private sectors, for example, UK investors or maybe German investors to go Indonesia as well? And for Mr. Swanborn from the Height, maybe a quick comment related to your technologies. Is it possible to be implemented in Indonesia's integrated tourism destinations such as Mandalika or maybe Tanah Mori in NTT in Eastern Nusa Tenggara as well, because they will be quite important host for important events in Indonesia in 2021 and 2023 for the ASEAN Summit and then the MotoGP as well. Is there any possibility for that? Maybe that's all, Mr. Pasaribu. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Pak Aditya. Quickly to then about Desmet, the question about other companies not from the Netherlands.
Well, I'm not sure I understood the question 100% correctly, but so basically you're asking whether financing parties from other countries can also participate in the same project that we would be financing. Is that your question, or did I?
Yeah, maybe let me explain a bit. Is there any possibility that you could also finance other projects from other countries outside the Netherlands? For example, the investor came from the UK who wants to go to Indonesia, and FMO acting as the financier for the project.
Yeah. Well, the answer is definitely yes. So we can basically, as long as it's in the renewable energy sector, FMO can finance projects where there is not necessarily a Dutch contractor or supplier involved or Dutch technology involved. So yes, if there is a foreign developer from the UK, from Germany, from whatever country, we can definitely look at the project as well. So yeah, there's no limitation there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Bart. And I think we have very much pressed in time. I'm sorry that maybe I could not pass on quickly the question, Pak Aditya, on to Hyatt. So we got to close the session due to time, and I'm sure that there will be opportunity for Hyatt later on to respond on the opportunity for other locations that in Indonesia for the implementation of the technology. So let me thank all the panelists and also all the responder. Thank you very much for the discussion that we had, and it was a very engaging and a very interesting topic. And we hope that there are some few follow-ups that we promised to do, and we hope that it can be done also offline. So back to the Master of Ceremony.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hart, for leading the discussion in panel 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you are enjoying the symposium so far. There are more exciting to come. In a moment, we will start the panel 2 discussion with the topic about challenges and opportunities from financing to social enterprise in sustainable energy. The session panel will be taken over by Mr. Sudarmono Sasmono, CEO PT Quadran Energi Rekayasa, and also researcher in renewable energy and Smart Grid Laboratory School of Electrical Engineering Telkom University. Please, Mr. Sudarmono, the time is yours.
Thank you, Intan. So now we entering the second panel, what already explained by Intan, the challenge and opportunity from financing to social enterprise in sustainable energy. We have 4 speakers today, and we have 3 responders. So first is time for speaker to explain their technology, their experience on this topic. The first speaker is Mr. Brand Elements, Business Development Renewable Energy of Pondera. Brand will give some explanation maybe about our technology and something what the Pondera proposed to Indonesia. So, Brand, the time is yours, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Pak Sudar. Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, and you can see my screen, I hope. That's correct, right? You can see my screen?
Yes, clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, good afternoon or good morning to the people in the Netherlands. I hope you're still with me, because it's already been a long day maybe for a lot of people, but still really interesting, all the topics we have discussed. I will give a short 10-minute presentation. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Brent Elements. I work as a business developer renewable energy for Pondera. And I will explain a bit more about our partnership with PT Indonesia Power and our projects we are involved in. So first, let me talk a bit about who is Pondera. So what do we do? What we do in Indonesia, which is really important. Our collaboration with Indonesia Power and the division of strengths between us, Pondera, and Indonesia Power, and where we can really collaborate in. And the challenges we face in this collaboration and the lessons we have learned so far for doing business in Indonesia. So first, who is Pondera? Well, we are a specialist in the development of renewable energy projects. And renewable energy projects are really in a broad sense of wind energy, solar PV, and geothermal. And we act as a consultant or an engineer or developer. And in Indonesia, we mainly act as a developer, but we also can take on consultancy and engineering services. And as a developer, we of course do all the same services as we do as consultant engineering as well. We operate globally. So we are a Dutch company, but we have significant projects in the Netherlands, but also internationally, among which Indonesia. Therefore, we have offices in the Netherlands where our headquarters is, but also in Indonesia and Jakarta, and in South Korea in Seoul. We have 70 employees, and they are all divided among all the offices in the Netherlands and abroad. And we are operating since 2007 already. So we have an overview of our services, and therefore we have this on our services wheel. If I stop it, it's the entire project lifecycle of a renewable energy project. And we work all across these phases of project lifecycle, starting from the initiation of a new renewable energy project, starting with feasibility studies, going through the planning and development phase for all the consenting and the wind measurements, the contracting phase for all contract management, tendering, and financing, construction management, and then through the operation of the renewable energy project until the end of life. So we take all the phases of a renewable energy project. We provide services in this. So what do we do in Indonesia? Well, we are active since 2016. Since then, we are investigating opportunities for renewable energy here. And since 2018, so 2 years ago, we opened our office in Jakarta, which is led by Pak Chandra Sumitra. He's the president director of Ponera Southeast Asia. And he's also the president director of PT Zeus Prima Garda, which is a company that is specialized already for 20 years in lightning protection. And we have an important crosslink with PT Zeus because they use masts for their lightning protection, and we use the same masts for our wind measurement campaign. So we have this important crosslink between both companies, and therefore we collaborate really well together. In Indonesia, we are active as a grassroots developer and consultant for on and offshore wind projects and solar PV projects. And together with our partners, we have set up a SPV that's called High Wind Energy Solutions. And that's the SPV for the wind farm Sumba project, on which I will tell you more about later on. That's our main project we're already busy with at this moment, also together with Indonesia Power. So then the collaboration with Indonesia Power. Since 2000 or in 2018, we signed a memorandum of understanding with Indonesia Power. And the aim of this MOU was that both parties will actively and positively cooperate in the development of renewable energy projects in Indonesia, which is a really nice aim, of course, but maybe a bit vague. And therefore we have defined quite some activities where we would pursue together, like wind measurements, feasibility studies, and PPA acquisitions. And we would apply these activities on some launching projects. We had identified a lot of them in Indonesia, and among which one is the wind farm Sumba project. So that's the 3 megawatt wind project in the middle of on Sumba Island. And at this moment, we have finalized all studies up front, and we are now in the contracting phase, trying to contract a wind turbine supplier. And really important, in parallel, the PPA negotiation phase. Together with Indonesia Power, we try to collaborate with them to start the PPA negotiations with PLN. More on that later. But first, the division of strengths between Ponera and Indonesia Power. Well, our strength, of course, is that we are specialized in the development of renewable energy projects. We have done that a lot in the Netherlands already, and we have already quite some experience now internationally as well. And we are in the possession of specialized instruments for conducting wind measurements, which is really important. That's where it all starts, especially in Indonesia. We need to verify the wind speeds with wind measurements campaign before we actually invest in it. And thirdly, we have a really large international network of engineers, legal consultants, and investors. And then going to the strengths of Indonesia Power, they have, of course, extensive experience in energy projects in Indonesia, not so much renewable energy maybe, but that's where we come looking for. They have the ability to support us in closing a PPA with PLN. And they have, of course, a lot of experience in all the processes within the Indonesian government. So this is really a win-win collaboration on paper, of course. But there are some challenges, and some challenges have already been mentioned by Bart from FMO. What we see is that both within Indonesia Power and PLN, several management changes occurred. And it is hard to pursue then a consequent strategy for your development of your projects, because when the person sitting behind on the other side of the table is changing all the time, that's not really helpful in a consequent strategy, and yeah, that's not really making progress there. Secondly, there is a financial scheme proposed by Indonesia Power, and what we saw so far is that it is not really, it's really difficult to finance by developers and investors. There's a 51% share for Indonesia Power in the project. Well, it's that's not so much the problem, but the equity investment is not really equally divided here. So that's where we see some challenges, especially our investors, and they see some challenges in these terms and conditions. And we hope we can solve them, because it's really a solution for this is really reliant. The progress really relying on a solution for this. And thirdly, what we see is that there is the presidential decree already mentioned on renewable energy and the renewable energy law. They are still in the making, and as long as they are not finalized, yeah, it's hard to come to agreements, because if legislations will be adjusted over time, our agreements can be adjusted as well, and that's really hard to pursue yeah, a consequent strategy here as well. So these three challenges we face so far, also in our collaboration. And we have also learned quite some already from our collaboration. First of all, the MOU, there was a really good start 2 years ago with Indonesia Power. However, what we also see is that an MOU is of course interesting, but it remains a bit vague about responsibilities. And to really work together in a collaboration on a project, we need to define who is responsible for what and who will invest in what. And that's not really into an MOU already there. That requires a letter of intent or collaboration agreement, really to make this definition. And that's what we have learned. And this is what also should, yeah, for all our projects, should be a follow-up step after the MOU. So that's an important lesson we have learned. What we also see is that, of course, that the development of wind energy projects is still relatively new and unknown. For us, wind energy is really common. In the Netherlands, we have, Pondera has been involved in all major wind projects in the Netherlands. But in Indonesia, it's different. It's different to develop here, and also with partners that are less known to renewable energy yet, and we want to collaborate in that.
I'm sorry, Brett, would you like to speed up your presentation?
And there's a last bullet, no problem. So that really requires perseverance of all parties, that to keep be motivated to pursue the projects. And lastly, collaboration in Indonesia should be on equal terms. What we see is that we put a lot of motivation and effort in new projects, and we start really positively. But if we want to collaborate later on, then it's already unequal, because we have already invested so much time and money there, and it's really hard to get an equal collaboration from that moment on. So what we've learned is that it's important to start when you start a project and you know you have to collaborate later on with a partner, start immediately with this collaboration and start on equal terms, on equal investment of time and money. So that's also an important lesson for us, and we want to apply these lessons for future projects, which is really important. This was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you, Brent, for your presentation. The question will come coming from our respondent, but after we listen to all the presenters by today. So we move to the second presenter today, Mr. Gozi Indradala, Advisory and Project Development Director, PT Sarana Multi Infrastructure, will present the financing renewable energy in Indonesia. So, Mr. Muhammad Gozi, the time is yours, please.
Thank you, Pak. I'm so grateful to be part of this event. So allow me to present about what we are doing in PT-SMI. I think our colleagues here is trying to start the share screen. So while waiting for the sharing of the screen, PT-SMI is actually 100% owned SOEs under the coordination of the Ministry of Finance. And under this coordination, I think the mission or the vision of PT-SMI is to become the catalyst to accelerate the infrastructure development in Indonesia. And given the current progress, we have three major business pillars. Mainly, we are as a financial institution, we give loans to the infrastructure projects. On top of that, we also have the equity investment and project development and advisory. And I'm handling the advisory and the project development. The advisory is actually meant to develop to make the project feasible. And then the project development is actually specifically targeted to create some PPP projects, usually through the assignment from the Ministry of Finance. So I can see, I still cannot see the presentation chart. Let me check whether probably the audience can see the presentation chart already. Okay, so probably I just have, sorry?
Okay.
We can see it.
You can see it, okay. So relating to the sectoral coverage is including irrigation, road, power, energy, and as you can see, the green underlying there is actually the green related sector. Move on to the next chart. To achieve our vision to accelerate the infrastructure development, we have four biggest strategy in Indonesia. As you know, to make the renewable energy really feasible and growing, you need to make everybody, all the stakeholders align towards a single goal. So as a 100% owned SOEs under the Ministry of Finance, one of our strategies to become a development partner for the government. So in this case, for renewable energy, we're working closely with Pak Dadan in EBTKI, SDM. And also after that, the second one is we are also trying to become a market maker, because some of this renewable energy is not clearly feasible, and some of that is not yet bankable. So using the products that we have, the platform SDG Indonesia 1, I will explain a bit later on. We are trying to make the market and get the financing come for this renewable energy project. And recently we just joined the ITB, the Initiative for Sustainable Financing in Indonesia, which consisted of the major big banks in Indonesia. So hopefully we can get the gap, the knowledge gap between the developer and the sectors with the bank, the one that will be financing the projects. Yeah. And the third part is an ecosystem enabler. This is very important because as you probably from the previous presentation that we can see that number of parties from the policymakers, regulations, developers, and all these parties need to work together in order to make sure that the renewable energy is actually feasible to be growing in the future to achieve the national target of 23% energy mix in 2025. And another part, the last part is sustainable development. As a development financial institution, we are promoting a balanced development, means correspond a balance between economic, social, and also environmental safeguard. And I think this is very important for the international investor. Next slide. As you can see, the renewable power plant development plan, basically on the left-hand side, you can see the National Energy General Plan, the RUEN. You can see the total of the about 45 gigawatts, yeah, from all the mix, geothermal, hydro, mini hydro, and the other. While you can see on the right-hand side is the current RUPPL 2019, yeah, is still corresponding of 24 gigawatt power supply. So you can see that there is still a gap. So hopefully when the PLN can revise this RUPTL, which corresponds to the plan of getting the power, more aligned towards the RUN, then we'll have more opportunity to achieve the national target of 23% by 2025. Next. This is just a highlight of portfolio of renewable energy that we have financed. Most of them is mini hydro, and we can see some of the biomass and geothermal, one geothermal and one wind power in Sidrap. Next. The challenges, probably some of the colleagues has mentioned. Yeah, hopefully with the new presidential decree, the tariff policy can be better, because I think it is designed to make the project or the PPA more feasible or bankable. That's the objective of the presidential decree. And as you know that I think some of the challenges also already mentioned by the other participant also, like a lack of equity, sponsor, and who's in the ministry that is supporting this, and about the bankability. Yeah. Next. This is the SDG Indonesia 1. We're collaborating with the Ministry of Finance. Currently, we have 32 partners from philanthropy. Pak Dadan also mentioned this in the morning session. And then we have accumulated about $3 billion US. And these partners is actually, we are trying to make a program with these partners to work on the either one of these four facilities. Development facilities can be like technical assistance, concessional loan, senior sub-assistance loan, and equity fund. And we do mix these facilities together to make a blended financing. I'll give you an example later on. Next. This is one of the like a solar. We have a grant from the Bloomberg Philanthropy where we are trying to look at the solar rooftop in airports. We have about to make the agreement sign, hopefully by end of this year, with PT Land and also AP2, yeah, as one of the business for the airport business. So hopefully this is how to make the solar rooftop project more feasible for further implementation. Next. I will just run through briefly, probably. And this is the collaboration facilities that we have from AFDE. This is the second facility. The first facility of 100 million has been used up for the climate change project, and this is the second facility that we have closed this year. The good part about this kind of loan from the multilaterals or the development financial institution is we can combine the loan and the grant, so we can do some innovative works to unleash the collaboration and get the financing into the renewable energy market. Next. Relating to the geothermal, we have two activities. Number one is GRAM. This is actually working with the World Bank. The GCF and the CTF is actually the major concern for the geothermal is actually on the exploration side, because the risk is very high. So what we did is we developed some sort of blended financing. We blend loan with the grant. So when the project, the exploration is successful, then the developer can pay 100% as a loan. But if the project is not successful, then 50% of the loan can be forgiven, which is corresponding to the grant that we are coming from the donors like CTF or GCF. So hopefully this can encourage the implementation of the exploration for later on the further financing with the bank, because when the opportunity or potential of the power is already clear, then the banks is already okay to look at that. Another, we need to work closely with PLN, because we need to get the head of agreement and PPA potentially to make this project bankable. Yeah. Next. And this is like a geothermal upstream development. GEOD is actually, we are having a grant to support exploration activities, but this is performed by the government. So hopefully with these activities, we will have a proven data of the potential. One of the early assignment is in Waisano in East Nusa Tenggara. So basically in this, hopefully we can make the potential, get the risk there, provided by the government. And then after the potential is already certain, then the government can conduct a tender. So it is easier for the developer later on to continue the project. Next. I have only 1 minute. Okay, I think that's thank you slide. We can continue the discussion later on.
Okay.
We're just on time. Thank you.
Okay, you're on time. Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Ghazi. So we will discuss it after we hear next presenter. It will be coming from Miss Sandra Winarsa from HIFOS. Yeah, I know HIFOS. They working for Sumba Island. They support Sumba Iconic Island. So, Miss Sandra Winarsa, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak. Good morning and good afternoon. Yeah, for all participants, thank you for the opportunity for me to share on what are the lessons learned and the experience of HIFOS. So a quick introduction, my name is Sandra. I'm the Program Development Manager for Green Energy for HIFOS. So a little bit about HIFOS. We are an international development organization. These are the countries that we work with, we work on. And we are basically, for the Southeast Asia office, we are operating in Jakarta with our global office in the Netherlands. So why why is HIFOS working in small scale renewable energy is basically within these approaches that we are undertaking in our deliverable. Well, the reason why is also because we see that climate justice is actually the principle and the humanist value that HIFOS is taken as the organization key key value in terms of delivering our programs. And large of the financing is happening all over the world is much focused on the large scale, while the small scale solution is often being neglected. That is the reason why we also emphasizing on the SDG agenda on leaving no one left behind. And actually this small scale solution are actually tackling problems at the ground level. So they are not actually, just lying there and then not providing any solution, but they are actually providing those. But unfortunately, because of various challenges, those kind of solution is very difficult to scale. So these are the examples that HIFOS have been doing for the last 10 years in Indonesia. We work with community, a lot of them are working with community and local government. 25 schools. We work with local entrepreneurs in the community in Sumba for charging stations. We work with local agents for solar agro processing, with local entrepreneurs for developing domestic biogas. We now have 25,000, which Rebecca from Rumah Energi will going to tell you more about that. The solar home system for PayGo, we also implemented that as part of the solutions, solar water pumping for irrigation, and a couple of micro hydros. So when I was being asked what is actually the main reason, HIFOS having a decision for a partnership, well, the answer is that HIFOS never works alone. We always work in partnership with other stakeholders because we have lots of limitation as well as an INGO operating in Indonesia. So we work with those who have a shared vision like us, whether it's coming from the private sector, coming from government and civil society organization, and also local entrepreneurs. We always emphasizing on what are the innovation angle, both in the technology and also the business model. Yes, in all of the programs, the projects that I mentioned in the previous slide all of them have their own business model. So they are not free because of the nature of HIFOS working from a grant fund. The third one, it needs to have a compatibility of expertise, knowledge, and network, of course. From our side, we are not a technical expert, so we tend to work with those who have that kind of skills to complement ours. It needs to have a replicability, so every project needs to be measured on the potential of replication that can be done from various actors. And lastly, it is always had to be included on the enabling aspect. So what are the policies angle entailed? how is the capacity development aspect is being covered, and then what about the local markets for that particular solution can be scaled. So when we talk about challenges on working on small scale renewable energy, these are the lessons learned that I can summarize. So small scale investment is more expensive, like we all know. The cost is more expensive, moreover because of its remote location, and because it's reaching the last mile and with limited connection. So basically, these are the locations that have little interest by the private sector. Probably would like to start to invest. That is the reason why part of the challenge that he was there to actually work on these regards. The second, working with small scale is always have limited resources, capacities, whether it's technical or management skills, and the lessons when we work with small scale renewable is it's not about the access itself. It's not about the electricity, but it's about social economic change. It's becoming the end goal of the projects that we're implementing. Social inclusion is also important. We take into consideration of that. And basically, how we can catalyzing this kind of solutions, and then influencing local and provincial and national policies about things that needs to be changed or improved because of inclusivity is not there. So these are basically the reason why we also choose our local partners. So local partners that can address this kind of aspect and have the capacity as well in delivering would be our most favorable partners that we're really keen to work with. In terms of business prospects, so last year we did an assessment with Climate Policy Initiative because of the first session talking about finance. So I thought that I can give a glimpse, info about this. So we did this research on how we want to assess what are the barriers actually that hinders private sector really would like to invest in small scale in decentralized renewable in remote areas. So we come up with several barriers and also key recommendations. The full report can actually be accessed that link. You can actually use that as well for your background research, for example, if you're really keen to know, what are the challenges. These are the main barriers that I can, put a snapshot, the regulatory of the business area, as probably the developer here knows about that, the difficulty for obtaining the business area from PLN. Unattractive small scale decentralized because it's small, it's the cost of investment is higher and the risk is also high. The lack of access to innovative financing. We have at PTSMI, which actually have a very good facility, supporting facility that was being shared previously. However, it's still actually aiming for large scale, megawatt scale of investment. But when we talk about small islands, archipelagic, in eastern part of the country is much more smaller than that. So that is the reason why, this kind of financial instruments for small scale renewable are still lacking. In terms of matchmaking needs, because these sessions, this conference is about matchmaking needs. If we are putting on a small scale renewable energy access, then I would recommend inviting mixed funders coming from development, from public, from philanthropies, and also private sector to actually contribute and then create a blended financing that is focusing on reaching the rural remote communities. So it's not about grid, it's not about grid extension or grid connection, it's not about a megawatt scale, but actually 100 kilowatt or maybe a 10, 20, 50 kilowatt are actually the one that is being needed by this remote rural community. And actually it has to be include attraction in higher level government lobby, because as we know, those kind of regulation though the financing is ready, the financing facility and the institution are ready to come in. The private developer are actually waiting for that opportunities. But if the policy from the national level is not really supporting that, that's really a big kind of hurdle, and that is what we are facing at this moment when we talk about small scale. I think that's it from my end. Thank you so much. So we can continue later on during the Q&A. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sandra. You're on time. So we go to the last presenter with today, Ms. Rebecca Angeline, the Executive Director of Yayasan Rumah Energi. I think this is a partner of HIFOS for biogas or bioenergy. Okay, Ms. Rebecca, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us and inviting us into the discussion. Let me just start screen share. Sorry. All right. Okay, thank you. So I have 10 minutes, right? So yes, a little bit of introduction about the organization, about Yayasan Rumah Energi. We are an Indonesian NGO. And we were established in 2012, so it's already been 8 years. We work in several different areas, renewable energy being our biggest portfolio, and food security, women empowerment, including business incubation, community livelihood, and the overarching mandate of our organization is to work on 3 areas, poverty alleviation, climate change adaptation and mitigation, and also economic livelihood. So here's just a little bit of background why we work in providing access to clean cooking for grassroots communities. The fact is that LPG consumption in Indonesia reaches at 7 million tons per year, 70% of which is imported. And also another interesting number is that there are around 21,000 villages across Indonesia that still use firewood for cooking. And 10,000 of those villages got their firewood from a forest area. On the other hand, our policy, the RUEN, National Master Plan for Energy, actually stated that the target for the direct use of energy, which in this case is biogas, is at 489 million by 2025. So it's clearly that there's government mandate for using, biogas, but then again, there are challenges along the way. All right, so if we look at the potential, this basically, we got the data from BPS, and this is how we select our areas of operation. So we work now in 11 provinces across Indonesia, and we basically selected the provinces where we work in based on the based on the number of cattle population or animal manure potential as the feedstock for our biogas. And here's the a little bit of background about our BIRU, Biogas Rumah program, which is our flagship program. So BIRU itself was established, initiated by HIFOS, MEMR, and also SNB back in 2009. So it's already been 10 years. And in 2012, when Rumah Energi was established, where we are basically appointed to be the grassroots implementer of the BIRU program itself. So what I want to highlight in this slide is that the goal is not only to provide access, but basically to push for a market development. So it's more on the, I think we'll talk about it later about, how we design our financing structure. So here are the targeted impacts, because we work directly with households. So it's, I would define it, even though we're an NGO, I would define it as a B2C. So we are looking to enhance the quality of life of the households or our beneficiaries. We want to improve to either financial savings or additional income. We want to increase the technical capacity, and also at the end of the day, we want to have a low carbon village development. So here's how this scheme works. So in the middle, you'll see like there's no logo for HIFOS or for YRE and MEMR, because we're basically a multi-stakeholder program. So if you look in the left-hand side, there's a Biru logo. So this basically defines, shows that it's a collaborative program. So what we do is we're not the ones who construct the biogas, or we're not giving free biogas for households, but our main actor at the forefront of this initiative is the one in the middle. We call them CPO, Construction Partner Organization. So they're basically local businesses who, just like any other business, they do the promotion, they do the construction, after sales service, repair and maintenance. So they're the ones who are actually pushing for the market. What we do, HIVOS, and also together with HIVOS, is to provide technical training. So if we need, so for example, for our technology, we need to have a standardization. We're the ones who facilitate, who try to facilitate it with a BSN, for example. We also provide, promotional strategy, education, advocacy to the government. We also help the local CPOs, the Construction Partner Organization, how to develop their business, how to grow their business, basically. And also what's another thing that's very important as well is to keep with the current trend on technology elsewhere, globally and also nationally and regionally, to have, the very best, biogas technology that can provide, really good benefits to our users. What's another thing that's important in pushing for market development is the role of the financial institutions. So because it's small scale at household level, so we work a lot with credit unions and also cooperatives. So we don't work with big banks, haven't worked with big banks, but we would love to have that opportunity. We have SMI here. All right, so this, so far we've facilitated the construction of 25,000, more than 25,000 units of household biogas across the 11 provinces. We try to keep track every year under impact, and also every single constructed biogas. We have the data because we really think that having a good base is important. Yeah. Okay. So about the market segment, for us, it's very important to really define who our target market is. So we, at the moment, we have installed the 25,000 units of biogas have been installed in 2,900 villages across the 11 provinces. And what's interesting here is that if we look at the data from the BPS, Rumah Energi only, Rumah Energi, we still have around 300, more than 300 villages that become our next target in terms of market expansion. And what's interesting also here is that if we go back to the map on the population of cattle, East Java, being the highest province with the highest population of cattle, also still has a really high number of villages that still use firewood for cooking. This is also, we try to narrow down not just at the location, at the sites, in terms of narrowing down our target market, but we also try to... Is my connection okay? Because it seems, sorry.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can see your presentation.
Thank you. 2.5 minutes to go. So yeah, we try to define the appropriate user profile for our technologies, because for us, sustainability in terms of the performance of the biogas is very important. We want people to use the biogas throughout their lifetime, throughout its lifetime, for example, 15 to 20 years. And we define it based on two main categories. The first one is the amount of feedstock that the user have access to or produced, and the second is the area of land that is needed for the biogas. Okay, I'll skip that. Okay, so when we talk about market, it's important to look at our competitors. And this map basically shows the distribution of municipal gas, the jaringan gas kota, and also the 3 kilo LPG. So those two are basically our competitors, even though you cannot compare in terms of scale. You cannot compare the domestic biogas with a Jargas and also LPG. But it's important to know that it's important to really to define the share markets between these technologies, and then have a clear transition from fossil-based to cleaner energy. We have, just to give you a glimpse on the two models that we have now, we're working on a portable model as well. So it's easier. We also want to innovate what's easier for the user, what's more efficient as well in terms of distribution of this technology and in terms of the financing. So we came up with a couple of new models. Hopefully we can launch them sometime this year or next year. And also, this is also important for us, is that every year, HIFOS and also Rumah Energi, we conducted what we call the biogas user survey. So basically, we want to measure the impact from the program. So last year, in 2019, we have 116,000 beneficiaries. And also, we recorded a reduced expenditure of 50,000 from the LPG consumption. And also, emission reduction is important because it's part of our carbon blended financing. So just to give you a really quick thing about the financing model. So we have 20 seconds. So we have different models. So we have the conventional financing where it's 100% grant. And we also have something that's more advanced, which is to combine financing from microfinance, carbon credits, user contribution, and also grant. So probably I'll stop there. Thank you very much, and we'll continue this in the discussion session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rebecca. Now we move to discussion, and maybe we can establish some preliminary connection. But before we move to our respondents, I want to show you something what I already developed and researched, since I'm basically I'm a lecturer too. This we already understand that the electrification of Indonesia is the Indonesian household electrification ratio in 2019 is 98.89, and the ministry already exposed that the household electrification is already 98.93 by April in 2020, and we have 5 provinces with a low electrification ratio relatively to the Indonesian to the national. 3 of them is archipelago and island province in Southeast Sulawesi, Maluku, and Nusa Tenggara. And we know that HIFOS and Rumah Energi working in it's Nusa Tenggara, and another is extremely rural, Central Kalimantan and Papua. This is our opportunity to working together. We also have Indonesian wind velocity, since I'm working for the small scale wind. And now we already identify for 4 islands, Moa, Kei Besar, Kei Kecil, and Jiko. Based on the WindPro, there's a small capacity. The relatively small capacity there. We have 5 megawatts in Moa and others. But I just share you that we have several opportunities there. So we move to the last discussion today. We will ask first to our respondent, Mr. Bayu Jayawardana from Ocean Grazer. Okay, Mr. Bayu Jayawardana, do you have any presentation today before?
First of all, thank you, Pak Sudarmono, for the short introductions. Indeed, maybe I could probably briefly introduce about our company. So myself, I'm working in the university. I'm a professor in mechatronics and control nonlinear systems at the University of Groningen. But I'm also currently a scientific advisor for a new startup company of the university. And let's see if I can share the screen. Can you see my screen now? So basically,
okay, yes.
What we are developing in our university is the development of a new technology for enabling the extractions of energy from offshore in an optimal way. So what we have developed is actually for the past couple of years on the wave energy extractions, and on the other hand, we are also developing a battery technology, and the battery is based on the classical pressure-based or like a pump hydro storage system. So in this case, we are kind of like pumping water from a lower pressure to the higher pressure, since we are located in the, since the device will be located at the bottom of the sea, then it will also receive a very high pressure from the oceans. And in that way, it is kind of similar like a pumping water from a lower potential to the higher potential in the high region, in the mountain, for instance. So this is actually the basis of our technology. The company has just started 2 years ago, and we are still busy in the development of technology. But as a responder, I'm not going to discuss more about our company. So I would like to kind of comment on a number of things that has been presented earlier, in particular to both Pondera and SMI. It is somewhat mentioned earlier that the cost of renewable energy is quite high in some instances, but we know as well the LCOE in the Europe is quite low, particularly for a wind turbine, wind energy, for instance. So we could have less than 10 cents per kilowatt hour here in Europe. And maybe how many questions could I ask, by the way, Pak Sudarmono?
You have so much. Do you have? Sorry,
I have one question. So
you have one question, two questions, three questions.
I have two questions. The first question.
Two questions. Okay.
On the LCOE, can you see a roadmap to reduce the LCOE in Indonesia, particularly for a wind turbine? And then after that, I will continue with the next question. So this is questions to both Pondera and SMI.
Okay. So please, Brad.
Yes, I can answer. Thank you for your question. It's really relevant to raise this question, because what we see in the Netherlands, of course, and Europe, it's uncomparable at this moment with Indonesia, and it's in the LCOE cost, mainly because where we see opportunities for wind energy, those are more remote islands, and what really increases the cost for wind energy is really transport. So looking at the Sumba project, the transport component of that project is really high, because we have to ship all the components with the beach landing towards the island, to the beach, and then transport it all the way to the site. So that's really a high cost component. Where we see opportunities for lowering the LCOE is, of course, scale. We are looking into offshore wind, and which really lowered the LCOE in Europe as well. Offshore wind is really booming now because of this, and can be without subsidies. And we see the same opportunities for Indonesia as well. It may require floating solar, but floating wind, but there are also some ground-mounted offshore wind opportunities as well in Indonesia, and really the scale there is much higher, and therefore you can lower the LCOE.
Okay. The next question, Mr.
No, maybe SMI can also comment on that, or
okay,
SMI would not comment then.
Okay, please, Mr. Muhammad Gozi. Do you have any comment?
Thank you, Bayu. So the comments is probably for LCOE, different renewable energy have different characteristic. And I think one of the things that we're trying to reduce, for example, I will use the geothermal case, by having let's say, blended financing, it will reduce the risk. Hopefully it would lead to a reduction of the LCOE. But for different, let's say, renewable energy, like the previous speaker has mentioned, that because it's in remote location, so they probably the challenge is they need to bring something like a transmission. They bring their own transmission to connect to the grid, and this can be an additional cost. The infrastructure, the land itself, can be an infrastructure cost. So this is something that we need to look at together and trying to cost. Hopefully, the presidential decree that Pak Dadan mentioned, it will increase, give some special preference or let's say tariff, better tariff for the market players. So hopefully, it will make sure, it will ensure that the PPA becomes more bankable to cover up this cost. And later on, the project feasibility can be also be good. Yeah. So for the financier can also become to finance the renewable project. So I think that can be another government support for this renewable energy. Pak Bayu, if I may comment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So,
next question, last question from Pak Bayu, if you have last question.
I have so many questions, so I have to pick up one.
But we have a little bit time today, so your priority.
Whenever we heard the presentations throughout the day, we always talk about the existing technology, something that has exist, and then try to find the implementations in Indonesia. So I was wondering whether, of course, the tidal technology is a kind of a new one being introduced, but what I would like to ask is related to the regulation, since it has been touched upon in the morning, that the regulation sometimes becoming difficult whenever the new technology is entering the market. Have you experienced such kind of regulations challenges whenever you try to introduce new technology, and how to cope with it with the Indonesian case? Because in Europe, you have to start it earlier so that when the technology has matured, then you can introduce to the market in timely manner. So how is it the situation in Indonesia according to your experience? So my questions may be to Pondera and to Mayerfas.
Okay, I think which one will answer first? I think Mrs. Sandra first from Mayerfas.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is about, because you are involved with a social aspect on the small scale renewable energy. Yeah. So that means you try to bring a policy and introducing a new legal framework, maybe if there is. Yeah. So my question is whether you have experienced such kind of influencing the law making for introducing new technology. So new technology can be hydrogen. So for instance, here in Europe, we try to push forward the hydrogen because hydrogen is one of the instruments that could replace feedstock for industry.
For us, to be honest, we never put forward technology as part of the reason on doing policy influencing, because we believe that the best technology will eventually will going to serve the needs. And when we are talking to ESDM, Ministry of Energy, and the provincial government in NTT, in Kupang, and also PLN, provincial PLN in Kupang, we always bring forward the developer that really keen to invest. Like for example, here Highwind, Pak Chandra is here. So we always partner with those who will provide not only the technology but also the solution that is affordable for PLN, also for the community, of course, impacting the community. When we talk about policy influencing,
I think what I'm trying to say is not policy, it's actually law. So just like in the morning when you try to introduce tidal, you somehow have to look for the regulations for road making, but you also have regulations for energy. So there is a conflicting law framework that they have to work with. So it's not about policy influencing, actually. So it's like a law.
Yeah, they're actually conflicting as well in the policy. Like for example, in HIVO's main attention, when we're looking at the Permen Desa, there is a legal framework saying that anyone that would like to electrify a village, please go ahead to do so. But in the Permen ESDM, for example, you cannot do that because you need to have a lot of regulation in place. Like for example, WILUS, tender, that sort of thing. So those two aspects is already conflicting. So that is the reason why we tend to trying to find a solution what is workable. Of course, for big scale, we cannot do that because it always had to be ESDM and PLN as part of the counterpart that needs to be influenced, if we can put it that way. But for the other small scale, we always work on in that regards. Talking about hydrogen, I also have a close private sector developer, which is HDF Energy, that they are actually very ambitious coming into Indonesia, especially eastern part of the country, for selling this hydrogen to PLN. Of course, because we see the technology is very sufficient and efficient, I mean, in replacing diesel as part of their, load. This is also part of the, not escorting, but actually accompanying them in meeting with the PLN, bringing the case of NTT, for example, that HIFOS is very familiar about. And then, having a discussion with the local government, those kind of approaches that we usually undertake when it comes to a certain technology innovation as angle, and how to work around the the regulatory environment and practices happen in the field.
Okay.
Hope that answer your question.
That's according to my feeling as well.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sandra. Thank you, Mr. Bayu. Brent, do you have a quick answer for?
Yeah, I can quickly comment on it. That we don't see that we are limited by laws on technical difficulties. What we see is if we can prove with a grid connection study, a grid impact study, if we can prove that our new technology with wind energy can really has no impact on the grid, then they are okay with our new technology. So it's more the financing and which really limits us for development of new projects. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we go to the next respondent. I think I introduce Mr. Hans van Brugel, coming from Wind Energy Solution. I know that the small scale wind power plant in Indonesia first implement in Nusa Penida by Wind Energy Solution. Hans, do you have any presentation, or you want give some quick question to our speaker today?
Yeah, I have a small presentation, but first maybe introduce a little bit. My name is Hans van Brugel from Wind Energy Solutions. My background in Indonesia goes back to the early 2000s, when I was a member of the task force energy from the Netherlands and Indonesia. And then we looked already to how can we implement renewables. And then the discussion was also about LCOE, cost price, technology, relatively same discussion as today. So that's not a new discussion. It goes back 20 years. And what we then said as a task force, we saw that Indonesian government sponsored heavily the small islands. There was one tariff and it was heavily sponsored. And then we came up with a solution that we say, okay, let's look to the actual cost price of energy from a diesel network and give renewables 80% of the actual cost price. And I understand that just recently this is some sort of implemented, because I think it's not fair to talk about a cost price if you go to rural areas where there is no grid or where there is a very small grid. So what we did in those days, we had a very comprehensive study in Soe in West Timor, done with Windrock and ourselves. And you saw that the price of energy was very high there because it was a small diesel genset, and the diesel had to be transported by small trucks, etc., etc. And what we saw is the implementation was the difficult part. And so we were active for quite a number of years in Indonesia, and I can show a few pictures if I share the screen. Can you see it? I think you can.
Okay, we can see.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So what we started again was a program called 500 in 5. So try to do 500 renewable solutions in 500 islands in 5 years. What you see is the turbine we installed in 2005 already in Nusa Penida in East Nusa Tenggara, and what we find out those days is that it was very difficult to find a strong partner, so we sold it at the end of the day. But what we also find out is that maintenance is a critical issue. You see that this is on the lattice tower. There was no crane capacity, so we installed it. In the first years, it ran perfectly. And then there was a lack of maintenance because as West, we were no longer involved in the SCADA or whatsoever. Just to show you a little bit, we did a project St. Helena. St. Helena is an island in the southern Atlantic Ocean. There are 12 West turbines, and we do 60% of diesel replacements. Small turbines, so we follow the grid. And that can be quite an interesting one if you go to small islands. We are a mid-size wind manufacturer, so we're between the 50 and the 250 kilowatt. We are a niche player, so we're not in mainstream wind. It's two-bladed. It's already 40-year-old technology. It was designed by Henk Lagerwey, one of the founders of the wind industry. We have global presence, and Indonesia for us has been always very important. We worked on hybrid systems. We participate and anticipate that wind diesel is not enough. You must have wind, solar, storage. That's the critical part if you go to remote locations. Nusa Penida, just very short, we installed 5 turbines in a hybrid system. The pity was maintenance. And for us, it was too difficult as a small and medium-sized enterprise company to go in. We see maybe we were 15 years ago, we were too early in the Indonesian market. And we left in 2009, we left Indonesia, a little bit disappointed. And since 2 years, we start anticipating to come back. And we are looking for a strong partner. And my question is, stop share. The question is to Mohamed and to HIFOS. What we have seen over the last, what I've seen personally over the last 20 years, that especially implementation was the critical part. It's not about technology, it is about implementation. And innovation has been done, all the technologies are around. And as I said, West, we are a small player. And we see Indonesia as our main hub to the Asian countries. And we've done 1,500 turbines worldwide over the last 20 years. And the question is on Mohamed and HIFOS, what would you advise SME technology providers, especially in this hybrid market, which is a relatively isolated market? It's not the main grid market. It is how can you enter that market? And how do you find the right partner for manufacturing and maintenance? Because that has been always our issue.
Okay, please, Miss Sandra, would you like to answer, give a short answer, I think. I suggest you to give a short answer to Hans, since we have another respondent, please.
Yeah,
the implementation.
I think what Hans going, in terms of implementation and also the operation, the manufacturing aspect, probably it would be good for having a discussion with Hywind. I think Pak Chandra here has more experience than I. Sorry, Pak Chandra, to bring you into the discussion, because working with a local technology provider to provide the local manufacturing facility, local people that based in Indonesia to provide a long-term after sales service services. I do not have a direct answer to that, Hans, to be honest, because what HIFOS primarily work is with a local institution agency, like for example, vocational schools, universities, that they would have an additional skills in terms of renewable energy aspect that could be benefiting in terms of supplying local talents to that particular areas. So I do not have a recommendation on how you can make that kind of connection with a private developer. But I think probably, yeah, I don't know, Pak Chandra, you would like to add on that insight?
Okay, I think Pak Chandra, please, would you like to entering this discussion, and also your time to be as a respondent to give some information, some sharing experience to Hans about your project in Indonesia. Please, your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before I start with my comment or question, I would introduce also that besides my involvement in the high wind energy, I'm also represent the Indonesia Wind Energy Association. I'm the chairman of the supervisory board of the association. Yes, regarding the question of the West in Netherlands, I've been visited the Nusa Penida because the first wind turbine installed in Indonesia by West is in Nusa Penida. I visited the island together with your colleague Wim Joosten. That was 4 or 5 years ago, and we see what is the trouble actually that the performance of the wind turbine now is decreasing or is totally stopped. The problem is the ownership of the power plant itself between the Minister of Energy, Municipal of Bali, and then the PLN, and the conflict of interest between the three parties. And also the next consequence is for the maintenance and repair of the wind turbine. That is already also mentioned by Ibu Sandra, that after sale service and the maintenance is very important to involve in the small scale project renewable energy in Indonesia.
Okay.
Yes. I have another question or another comment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
thank you, Chandra. Since we have a little bit time, so Pak Chandra, you have time for one question to the speaker, please.
Okay, only one question to Pak Gosi Indra from SMI. The renewable energy financing, such solar and wind energy project in Indonesia, is risky investment according to the financial institution, and especially for small renewable energy, less attractive for local banks or local financial institutions to financing. Mostly of them wants only as the co-financing. In your experience, Pak Gosi, which way the SMI can contribute to improve the financing gap especially for the small scale renewable energy project such the wind energy in Sumba? Thank you. That is my question, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Pak Chandra. Please, Pak Gosi, your time to
Thank you,
answer.
Pak Chandra. I'm afraid I don't have a straight answer assistant capacity building technical support, or we can structure it into a PPP or the other. So we have a number of tools that we can use, right? So the objective is actually like we did in geothermal. Hopefully, we identify a specific issue, which is exploration. We craft some innovative financing to support that, right? For solar, currently we are only looking at the feasibility study for the rooftop. I think it's open also. We can discuss on the solar and also wind, yeah, later on. But I think it's a matter of time while the discussion needs to be there and the parties needs to sit together and look at the feasibility and bankability of the project, yeah, one by one. If I talk to the banks, yeah, the funny part, if I talk to the developer, they said they don't have financing. If I talk to the bank, the financing is there, but I think the knowledge, the appetite is still to be developed and the support. So we need to sit together to a number of FGDs, I think, to discuss together on what needs to be done in that area. And each area is a specific. For example, like solar, mainly it's remote, right? So there's additional cost for the developer. You need to bring your own, develop your own transmission to the grid, yeah. Or you can focus it in a off-grid kind of solution. So we need to have more study, and I think we need to talk together within the banks and the parties. Yeah. As I mentioned, probably the key tagline for renewable energy is all must. I think the ecosystem must work together to find out on how to link this together. And I think SMI will be have a pivotal role in trying to connect. Although if it's very small, then it's very difficult, Pak Chandra. If the project is very small, then the bank said, why should I take a very small project or very risky? Then it's very difficult. So we need to find a way how to make it sizable enough for the banks, and trying to get the banks to help look at and give suggestion on how to make the project bankability. And we can use some of the grants and the technical assistance that we have from the SDG Indonesia 1 to understand and study on how to make it bankable. But it will be it's not an easy process. But we need to do it and sit together as soon as possible. I think that's my answer, Pak Chandra. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you, thank you, Pak Gozi. So there is several there is several challenge in this in this area to develop what we call it a small scale for social entrepreneurs in sustainable energy. There's so much challenge, but I think we can continue our connection in offlines. Maybe I hope the alumni ITB network Netherlands chapter will facilitate all the parties here to establish the connection and take a benefit for each other. So thank you so much for this panel second session. Back to Intan. Please, Intan, your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sudarmono, and thank you for all the speakers, responders in panel 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, the last panel discussion is to wrap up our event. And now we are at the end of our event today. Although this event is running online because of the current situation, hopefully all the information material that you have gained from the keynote speech and panel discussion can be informative and meaningful for everyone here. And we hope our strive to the symposium to foster and accelerate sustainable energy implementation by becoming an infallible information hub for partners both in Indonesia and Netherlands can be carried out. On behalf of the committee of the symposium, we would like to say thank you to the guests, speakers, respondents, facilitators, and all the participants who joined this event with us. It's been our pleasure to host this symposium, and we wish you all a pleasant day. Stick to health protocol during this pandemic, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you at the next year event. Danke well, thank you, and terima kasih. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.